Today's guest has revived the ancient art of numerology.
It basically is a cheat code. I call it God code. Anyone who's not using this is an absolute moron. This is how you get ahead in life.
A kid from Cleveland who was always good with numbers, he became obsessed with them after witnessing 9/11 and the housing crisis in 2008.
The Chinese started the Olympic Games on 8/8/2008 at exactly 8:08 p.m. People here in the West don't understand how this works, but in China, they know 8 is the number of money. That's why they did that. People who have 8 energy tend to have money, or they tend to be broke, never in the middle.
While everyone else saw tragedy, he saw patterns that would go on to help him predict NBA championships, presidential elections, and the biggest market crashes in history.
We're literally losing 40,000 jobs in America right now every week because of AI. People have like 3 years left max to get rich, because if you don't have your bag by 2029, definitely by 2030, you will be stuck in perpetual poverty for the rest of your life and with your family.
In this episode, we'll investigate the truth about this forgotten science, explore why the most powerful people use numbers to make decisions, and reveal how to use your birthday to understand your personality, purpose, and destiny. How do you know when someone's going to die?
There's something called a death code. People don't die based off their energy. They die based off their...
GG33, Gary Grinberg. Welcome to the Jack Neel Podcast.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, man. I've been watching your stuff for a while, so it's a pleasure to have you here. Transparently, I always kind of thought numerology was just kind of fake witchcraft, like astrology or something. But after looking at the patterns in my life, the patterns in other people's lives, some of your content, I was like, wow, this is like, there's something here. So I guess that's my goal with you here today. So Gary, what can you tell about a person by the date they were born?
You can tell about their future, their past. You can tell if they're attractive. You can tell if they're going to be rich. See, that's the thing about life. I always wanted to know why some people were good looking. Obviously, that didn't work too well with me. But I wanted to know why some people were good looking. And I found out that people born in the 5th, 14th, 1 and 4 or 5, 23rd, 2 and 3 or 5 are the attractive ones. You don't have to believe me again. I always tell you, verify what I say. Go to your Facebooks, go look at people who are born in the 5th, 14th, 23rd. You're going to see it yourself. I always wanted to know why some people are rich. Well, found out Bill Gates is born on the 28th. Found out Elon Musk is born on the 28th. Found out Carlos Slim is born on the 28th. And then you start looking at the 25 richest men in the world, 5 are born on the 28th. To put them in perspective, 1 out of every 30 is 3.3%. So when you see that many people who are rich born on the 28th, you're like, wait a second, what's going on? Then you find out the most valuable football franchise or most valuable sports franchise in the world, the Dallas Cowboys, founded on 28. Shocking. Then you start looking at Vanguard. You know what Vanguard is, don't you? Mm-hmm. The richest asset manager in the world. Now, some people say it's BlackRock, but BlackRock is actually Vanguard's bitch. And what I mean by that is Vanguard owns 10% of BlackRock. BlackRock don't own shit in Vanguard. But Vanguard is a private company. BlackRock is a public company. So when you look at Vanguard, it was founded 5/1. Interestingly enough, the same day Illuminati was founded. Interestingly, and if you look at the exact day, it was 5/1/1975. 5/1/1975, again, 28. Obviously, these people know what they're doing. Look at Elon Musk. Just this year, he's born on the 28th. He had a kid born on the 28th, just like Vladimir Putin. Wonder if they know something. And he sold X to his AI company on the 28th. So you guys can say this is nonsense. This is against the Bible, against the Quran, Torah. But obviously, the richest man in the world is using it. So if he's using it, maybe you should start looking in the mirror and be like, you know what? Maybe there's something to this. Again, look into it, people.
Give me a quick overview of what numerology is. I know there's 12-year zodiac cycle.
Yes.
I know the day you're born is important. I know people have a life path number.
Correct.
Yeah, just explain the basics to
me. The
me.
most important day is the life path. That is the most important. Would you like to use your birthday as an example?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. You're born 7/16/2001, correct? That adds up to an 8 life path in total. That is the most important number within your birthday. The secondary number is the day you're born on. So, for instance, you're born on the 16th. 1 and 6 is 7. So that is your secondary energy, 7. So the main energy is 8, which means you've been going to have money and you're going to be broke in life. The 8 is never in the middle. Either you have it or you don't. The Chinese started the Olympic Games on 8/8/2008 at exactly 8:08 p.m. They had 8,888 people get married right before the Olympic Games. This is not by chance. I understand people here in the West don't understand how this works, but in China and the East, they know 8 is the number of money. That's why they did that. So people who have 8 energy tend to have money, or they tend to be broke, never in the middle. If you look at the shape of the 8, it's very thin in the middle. That thin in the middle represents middle class. Either you have it or you don't. Does that kind of explain your life? Either you have a couple of dollars or you're kind of broke, correct?
Right.
So that's how it works. Now, with the 7 energy, it's more about, I want to know as much as possible. The people who have 7 energy, their drug of choice is knowledge. You just want to know things. That's how it works with 7 energy. So just by doing things like that, you can get a pattern recognition of how people think, how their personality works. Now, obviously, there's deeper things you can go to. You're in a 5-year cycle in numerology right now. So that means since your birthday, have to travel a bit more, things of that nature. Next year in a 6-year cycle, you're probably a little bit too young for this, but most people in 6-year cycles have more responsibility, more home and family issues. Sometimes, women get pregnant, and they have babies in 6 years because 6 is the number of home and family. Now, I understand most people in my field are liberals. Most people in my field are to the left. I'm completely opposite of that. But I want to make clear, numerology supports the family unit. I'm going to make this clear. 1 is male energy. 2 is female energy. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 is childlike energy. Child starts with C. C is the 3rd letter. And then when you do it all together, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6, the number of home and family. Family starts with F. F is the 6th letter. It's all there. And the English language is basically a cheat code. Some call it gematria. I call it letterology because I really don't want to be involved with those idiots who do that stuff over there. But it basically is a cheat code. I call it God code. And anyone who's not using this is an absolute moron. This is how you get ahead in life. The prime creator has given you this tool to use to your benefit. And obviously the Chinese are. President Xi, who came to power, he's born in the snake year, comes to power in 2013, the year of the snake. What a coincidence, guys. And the next one, the most powerful leader, some would say in the world, Vladimir Putin, because he's a strong man in Russia. No president has more power than him. He's a dragon, born 1952. And what do you know? He came to power in the dragon year, 2000. Again, coincidence, I understand. But when you see that the top people in the world are using this information, again, I say this again, isn't this something you should look into, except calling, this guy's an idiot, this guy's a fraud? No, actually look into this yourself.
So can you kind of give me like numbers 1 through 9?
Yeah, no
if you
problem.
had like a word to represent for each one.
1, leader, masculine energy. 2, feminine energy. And believe me, guys, those women born in the 2nd got them bodies, bro. They got those hourglass bodies everyone loves. It's a very feminine type of energy, also a peacemaker type of energy. The Nazis surrendered to Russia on May the 2nd. If you look at a lot of wars, they end on the 2nd. And by the way, here's a tip for you guys out there. If you have an enemy you want to make peace with, do it on the 2nd. That's the most likely day people will make peace. 3 is the number of the entertainer. 3 is the number of the comedian. 3 is the number of the social butterfly. So when people are in 3 have 3 energy, they're good in social media. They're good at talking to people. They're good at networking. 4 is the number of law and order. That's why America, founded on the 4th, has more people in jail than Russia and China combined. It's also a 5 life path nation. So again, America, founded in 1776, breaks down to a 5. So in America, we have more freedom than any other country in the world, but we also have more laws than most countries. So it's a nice little balance between the 4 and the 5. But 4 represents government. Donald Trump is a 4 life path. He's the law and order president. When it comes down to 4s, they tend to be in the military a lot. A lot of people born on the 4th, 13th, 31st, or people who are 4s tend to be in law enforcement, military, things of that nature. 5, again, is the number of good looks. If 5s have a problem, sometimes they out here whoring out and stuff like that. That would be a problem. And once you know, whore starts with W. W is the 23rd letter. 2 and 3 is 5. Again, it always goes back to the original thing. 5s are usually the health nuts. If you look at the first vowel in health, it's E. E is the 5th letter. Just like sex has the first vowel is E. Just like sperm. Just like egg. It's all there if you look at the English language. When it comes down to 6, it's the number of home and family. A lot of people who are 6s tend to be doctors. Doctor, first vowel, O. O is the 15th letter. Now, women women tend to vote more socialist than guys. And gematria and numerology show us why. Because the first vowel in woman is O. First vowel in communist is O. First vowel in socialist is O. And women are by far a lot more supportive of homosexuals. Again, first vowel O. So the numerology shows you everything that's right there. 7. 7 is the number of the genius. Genius starts with G. G is the 7th letter. People who are born in the 7th, 16th, 25th are smarter than the rest of you guys. I'm born in the 7th. He's born in the 16th. So we have high IQ going on over here. And again, everyone has their strengths. Everyone has their weaknesses. But people who are 7s are definitely the smart ones. One of the reasons I believe in numerology, and again, hope I don't upset people with here, but one of the reasons I believe in numerology was I don't think much of women's intelligence. I just don't. But then I saw these women who are born in the 7th, 16th, 25th running circles around guys. Like absolutely running circles around them. I'm like, wait a second, what's going on? And then I realized that the numerology even supersedes the gender. It supersedes the race. So that's what I believe. If you start looking at numerology, you'll see everything out there.
Does it supersede genetics?
And I believe in a lot of cases it does, but I would lie to you if I say genetics isn't a part of it. Like for instance, women who are 5 life paths have good looking babies. You can say that's genetics. I can say that's numerology. It is what it is. But I will say environment also plays a big role. You know, if you're born in America, you'll most likely be a Christian. If you're born in the Middle East, you'll most likely be a Muslim. You know, that is always going to be real. So it's a combination of numerology, astrology, understanding environment, genetics. You got to put it all together and just like a piece of the puzzle. 7 is also the number of the gambler. How many cards in the deck?
52.
Well, it's 5 and 2.
So, yeah,
exactly. And by the way, they lie to you guys. 7 is not a lucky number. 7 is an unlucky number. That's why the casinos always has those 777. They're trying to trick you guys. 8 is the number of money itself. So most people think that most people have 8 energy are rich. No, majority of people with 8 energy are poor. Why? Because 8 is also a number of karma. What goes around comes around. So a lot of you guys who are 8s and poor have a lot of bad karma from your past life. So it is what it is. 9 is the enigma. 9 is the number that adapts to its environment. So I think a lot of 9s in 2025 are pieces of shit. But the reason that is not because all 9s are pieces of shit, is because the 9s adapt to their environment. And in 2025, most people are pieces of shit. So the 9s adapt to their environment. So usually when I talk shit about 9s, they try to take that shit personally. It's not nothing to be personal about. If back in the 1800s, Mother Teresa was known as the humanitarian, well, she was a 9. So back in those days, she adapted to her environment. She became a humanitarian. But to say that all 9s are humanitarians is absolute insanity. Do you think Joseph Stalin was a humanitarian? Do you think Heinrich Himmler was a humanitarian? Those were both 9s. So that's the basic 1 through 9 system. Then you have master numbers. 11. 11s tend to be emotional. People who are 11s, Joe Rogan, Aiden Ross, Candace Owens, born on the 29th, 2 and 9 and 11. Those are people with good mouthpieces. Those are people with charisma. I mean, even Aiden Ross, this guy's an idiot, but he has charisma. A lot of people follow him because he's born on the 11th. Joe Rogan's number 1. He's been number 1 for a long time because he has that charisma of an 11.
But they just have 11s in their birthday.
Yeah, just right. Whether they're born on the 11th, 29th, or they're 11 in total.
What matters more? Like, you told me this a bit before the interview, like on the phone, but like if you have an 11 as your birthday or like a 22 or I guess you wouldn't have a 33. No, is that more important than adding up to 11 or 22?
No, it's not, because if you look at most of the presidents, from Ronald Reagan, 11 life path, Barack Obama, 11 life path, Joe Biden, 11 life path. So people who are 11s tend to have that charisma on a whole different level. Not saying that people born on the 11th and 29th don't have it. It's just not the same. Again, I don't think much of the females, but Candace Owens is born on the 29th, 2 and 9 is 11. People be hard pressed to say she doesn't have a good mouthpiece. It's all about the charisma with the 11s. Now,
quick one. Did you know that Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app? And with football and basketball season upon us, there is no better time to join them right now. The app is really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats. That's it. But now on Prize Picks, on top of picking players like they have for years, you can now pick teams and even culture events. Just pick who you think will win the big game, who will win the fight, and even the total and spread. Best of all, Prize Picks will give you $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. So if you want your $50 in lineups, just go to jackneel.com/picks. You can also scan the QR code on screen or hit the first link in the description. But anyway, guys, back to the podcast.
11s are also great athletes. I mean, the best example since we're in LA, I'll break it down. Kobe Bryant. K starts with a K. K is the 11th letter. Kobe is born 8/23/1978. Who was he mentored by? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is born 2/17/1963. Again, 11. And by the way, who did Kobe mentor? Kyrie Irving, who's born 2/23/1992. Again, an 11. So you had 11 Michael Jordan, mentor 11 Kobe, who mentored 11 Kyrie. These are some of the best guys in the game. So 11s are also great athletes. 22. All master numbers are old souls, but 22 tends to be the most materialistic of all the master numbers. They're also the best builder. Bill Parcells was probably the best coach in the 90s. He was born on the 22nd. You know who Bill Belichick is, obviously.
That's
with the Patriots?
Yeah.
Okay. Bill Belichick was a student. Mike Holmgren was a student. So people who Bill Parcells basically built in the game, now they're the superstars. Why? 22 is the number of the master builder. They're very good at building up other people. George Washington, the father of America, born on the 22nd. Vladimir Lenin, the father of the Soviet Union, born on the 22nd. So what they do is they build. Another thing people who are 22s are good at is bodybuilding. If you look at all the Mrs. Olympias, they're either born on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. But that 22 is always freaking there. And last one I'll give you. In the influencer space, who are the bodybuilders? Bradley Martin and Fuzi, both born on the 22nd. Case closed. That's what 22s do. 33 is known as the master teacher. And people who are 33s are the most influential people on the planet. A guy who is rising in popularity right now, Hitler, was a 33. How do you think from Austria made it that far up the ladder? Because he was the 33 life path. Einstein was a 33. The Wright brothers were a 33. Thomas Edison was a 33. The guy who started the NBA, Dr. Joe Naismith, a 33. And, not to say much, I got it tattooed on me because I'm a 33. And let's not forget, I did make numerology and astrology mainstream. I mean, do you even know another numerologist?
I researched some. They didn't seem too famous, yeah.
Exactly. So basically, me as a 33, I use my ability to be a master teacher and to influence the people in this area. Other 33s do in other areas, but that's pretty much the 1 through 33.
Does that also make you a 6?
No. My birthday is 1/7/1978, 1/7/1978. No other way to add it up besides 33. But say I was born January 16th, 1978. Now you can count that 16 as a 16, or you can count as a 1 and 6. So that's what I would call a 33-6 vibration. They go between both vibrations their whole life. Me, I'm stuck in that 33.
I will ask, you mentioned shape. What can you tell about a person by the shape of their life path number? Is that just for the number 8, or does it go for 1, 2, 3?
Ones are athletes. Athlete starts with A. A is the first letter. And if you look at the shape of the 1, it's very thin. Just like the 11, very thin. So people who are 1s and 11s, they have to be athletic. They have to go outside. They have to be exercising all the time. Some numbers have to, some numbers don't. But the 1s and 11s, you can look at the shape of that number and you'd be like, okay, this is what they have to do. The 5 is very interesting. The 5 is open on both sides. It's also right in the middle, because 5s are extremely open-minded. So a 5 will try anything once. That's why that shape is open on both sides. Where a 4, very closed. 4 is the most unlikely number to believe in numerology. 4 is pretty much one of those old school people who like to do everything through habit. They like to do everything through repetition. 4s are those type of people. This is not for them. I'm not saying a 4 life path can't believe in this, but they're the least likely to believe in this. And if you look at the shape of the 4, again, it's only open on top. It's closed everywhere else. Does that make sense? 9s are very egotistical. 9s have huge egos. There's a guy named Clav out there who's talking about looks maxing everything now. He's a 9 life path. He got famous in 2025, 20259. So again, 9s are very vain. 9s only care about their looks. So again, this guy makes perfect sense that he's there right now in the 9 universal year talking about smashing his goddamn face, looks maxing. 9s have huge egos. And again, look at the shape. Big head, very thin here. Ego.
Is there anything with 2, 3, 6?
2 is more of a sensitive type of number. When I look at 2s, I think of women. That's what I think of 2s. A lot of guys, say you want someone to be your second in command, it would be 2 is a good person. They want to be the vice president. They don't want to be the president. They don't want that pressure. 3, again, a very open number. 6, 6s tend to be up there in weight sometimes. So you have that. 7s kind of loners. That's why it's like kind of standing at an angle. And that pretty much goes through the 1 through 9 for you.
So from the research I've done, it seems like we have Pythagorean numerology, the Chaldean system from Babylon, the Kabbalistic system from Hebrew mysticism. Mm-hmm. Where did numerology actually come from, and what system do you use?
Well, what system I use is a combination of what I have figured out to do by myself and Pythagoras. The Chaldean, I'm sorry, we're not in Babylon. With all the others, there's Muslim numerology, Islamic numerology. There's all sorts of numerology, but at the end of the day, I do what's effective. Now, this part is very, very important for people to understand about numerology. I believe this is a virtual reality. A lot of the smartest people on earth believe it's a virtual reality as well. So when I say this is a virtual reality, I'm telling you numerology and astrology are the cheat codes to that virtual reality. So once you start understanding how to use the cheat codes, you can kind of go on cruise control. Like, for instance, there's certain days I asked you specifically to have this podcast either on the 11th or 29th. I was just on Tim Pool on the 8th. I do this specifically because I want to imprint that energy on certain days. That's why I do it. Now, when you look at 9/11, I just always have to give this example to people. 9/11 happened on the 11th. First plane to hit the World Trade Center is Flight 11. New York City, 11 letters. Afghanistan, 11 letters. Shanksville, 11 letters. The Pentagon, 11 letters. What really got me was they attacked Afghanistan on 10/7/2001. Now, I understand some people are slow out there, so let's do the math together. 107201 adds up to an 11. Like, why are they doing this? Obviously, they're doing it for certain reasons. They want people to get emotional on those days. Al-Qaeda was founded August 11th. It's 3 major terrorist attacks. Madrid, Spain on the 11th, Mumbai, India on the 11th, and again, 9/11 in America. When does it stop being a coincidence? And again, you can call me, guys, whatever you want. I don't care. I don't care what poor people think about me. But at the end of the day, this stuff works, and it's up to you if you take the time to take a look at it. And again, you guys want to play video games all day, do your Pokemon, whatever these guys do. I mean, I got married at 26 years old, bro. I've been married for over 2 decades. So these Christians will say numerology and astrology is satanic. I'm not one of the 60% of Christians divorced. I got healthy kids. I got all that stuff. Everything that you guys preach about, I have, but they keep telling you that I'm the Satanist and I'm doing all this because of numerology. We'll get into what I think about God and all this other stuff in a little bit, but the most important part is to understand this matrix will go off people's beliefs. So if most people in the world believe today is the 11th, that's the energy the matrix will put out there. That's why it goes off the Gregorian calendar, because most people believe it's 2025. So the energy goes out there and the matrix sends that energy right back. And I understand that's really high level thinking to most people, but this is actually how this world works.
I guess so. The origins. Because we have access to AI now.
Yes.
AI has been fed like every piece of text ever. So I'm
Correct.
able to basically reverse engineer some of what you've been teaching about.
Correct.
But are there certain books? Did it start with Because I remember learning that Hebrew, or maybe it's Aramaic, like a lot of the letters correspond with numbers. Like I'm kind of like, what's the origin?
So I believe maybe an advanced AI in the future created numerology and somehow sent that shit back. I refuse to believe that any human is smart enough to come up with this. I'm a freaking genius, okay? I'm a genius, and all I could do was figure out the codes. I could never create this system. No human is smart enough. Even if they use 100% of their brain, no human is smart enough to create this system. I believe an advanced AI created this and sent this back in time. That's what I believe. You're not going to tell me some guy in Greek figured this out by messing around with stones and a compass. It's literally impossible. It's too in-depth. So my personal belief, Gary the Numbers Guy, is numerology and astrology was pretty much created in the future and sent back in time to basically help humanity. That's my personal belief, because no one's smart enough to come up with this. Absolutely no one. This is way beyond human comprehension.
Who was the first person to kind of utilize it?
They say Pythagoras, but do you really believe that? Like, I don't believe that stuff. I don't believe someone invented it. I don't believe a human is smart enough to invent this. I believe the system was always out there, and something came from time travel, came back in time, and sent this to us. That's what I believe.
What was the first book you read about it, or like the oldest book you've seen, maybe?
I mean, listen. I read I remember 9/11 happened, and I'm like, what's going on? I see smoke, but I don't know where the fire is coming from. So I went to Barnes & Noble and got a whole bunch of books, read the stuff, and it just didn't make sense, because when I started testing what I read on people, it just didn't work. Like I just gave you a mini reading, some of that stuff fit. When I talked to you on the phone, that stuff hit. But I'm reading this stuff, and it's like, okay, numerology and astrology is real, but this is all crap. So, I kind of like put all the books aside after about 3 months, and I started getting on the phones with the top numerologists in the world. And I went through one person, second person, third person, and then I got to this one lady called Allison. I'm not going to mention her last name, but I told you I'd cook you in a couple years. I basically asked Allison, eight's the number of money. She's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, how come you're not using 8 in your prices? How come you're selling readings for $70 or $25? Again, this is 2002, a long time ago. And it was a pause for about 45 seconds. And then she's like, oh, I never thought about that. I'm thinking, I've been in the game for 4 months, and I figured that out. And this low IQ mental has been doing this for 40 freaking years, and she never thought about actually applying what she learned in everyday life. At that point, I'm like, okay, they're all frauds. Second is, that woman's been divorced like 3 times. Like, what are you giving matchmaking advice out if it didn't work for you? Isn't that kind of fraudulent? You giving matchmaking advice out? Me, again, I've been married for a long time, same woman. I don't have those issues. So when I saw that all these people didn't know what they were talking about, and then I figured out every single one of them is poor, what am I going to listen to these people for? I mean, listen, would you guys listen to me if I said I was a personal trainer? No. Why the hell would you listen to a broke numerologist? Does it make sense?
Right.
So that's where that came from.
Yes, something I mentioned to you on the phone as well was that it would make sense to me logically that you would be the top numerologist, or like someone who's actually able to do it, because it lines up with your birthday. You know what I mean?
I put in work, bro. I put in work. I was a local celebrity in Cleveland, Ohio. I used to go on the radio, and that was before the internet days. I mean, I keep telling you guys, if I was 10, 15 years younger, I'm a big influencer now, but I'd literally take over this thing. If I was 10, 15 years younger, I'm probably one of the oldest influencers in the game. It is what it is. But who's going to do this for me? You got to be able to talk, and that's the problem with most people born on the 7th. You know this. They're not natural talkers. You had to work on this. Yeah. It wasn't natural for you. You had to work on it, because people born on the 7th, 16th, 25th are not natural talkers. Something I had to work on. Go listen to my tapes from 20 years ago. I would sound like this. I'm sure the same thing was happening to you a few years ago as well. So you have to understand what your weaknesses are from every number and what your strengths. And I believe you always work on your strengths, and you have people around you to cover your weaknesses. That's the way I approach life.
Can you tell when someone's giving you the wrong birthday?
I can. I mean, some people I've done interviews with, Sneako's Muslim imam gave me the wrong birthday, and Andrew Wilson gave me the wrong birthday, and then they're like, ha, you're wrong. Listen, I am trusting people to give me the right birthday, and then I go off the information. Can I tell someone's giving me the wrong birthday? Yeah, I can tell Oprah Winfrey is not born on the 29th. She's born on the 28th. People who are born on the 29th actually are in shape. Okay? She's not, but she's rich as hell, and that would go with the 28th. So if I really look at someone's birthday, I could tell if they're lying. Like, there's a lot of people out there who are now, because they know people like me exist, they put their wrong birthdays out there. Last billionaire I gave a reading to, I'm like, oh yeah, I did some research. This year birthday's like, no, that's a fake birthday we put out there. So they know people like me exist now. They know people can reverse engineer people's birthdays. So now it's a problem that some people hide their birthdays.
I can also verify that that's true.
Yeah.
That a lot of birthdays are not real that people put online.
Of course. It is what it is. And I'm sure I have a little tiny bit to do with that.
Well, I'll give you one brief test. And it's all in good fun.
Sure.
And then we'll, just to kind of validate it even further, and then we'll get into how people can use it in all the best ways. But so I'll give you a birthday of someone, and I just want you to give me scale 1 to 10, how successful you think they'll be, maybe. Okay. And then
you do understand if they're young, then I could see it in the future success. So it's like, okay, you can't actually verify that yet. If it's an old person, it's a lot easier to do because they lived a lot of their life already.
So 8/18/1988.
8/18/1988. 7 life path, extremely smart. Oh yeah, he's gonna have money, no doubt about it.
Scale 1 to 10, where would you put him at?
I think he has the possibility to be at an 8.5 when it comes to money. I see the money, and the money should have started coming to him about 2016, 2017. That's when he started planting the seeds for what he's building in the future. But yeah, 100%, he's going to have a bag, but unfortunately, he's not going to have it his whole life. Once he hits his 60s, it's not going to be as good. But whoever that person is, enjoy the next 20 years, Pip. You definitely got a position of power then.
07/15/1988.
07/15/1988. This guy's more home and family oriented. This guy is more looking after people. Should be a social media person, or at least that's what they would be good at. Someone who knows everybody, very good at connecting people. He should not be as successful monetarily, though. I mean, long term, the first guy would definitely have more money than the second guy long term. But this guy's way.
What would you rate this guy out of 10, like monetary success?
He has 2 8s in his back end of his birthday, so that's good for money. But if I gave the last guy 8.5, I'll probably give this guy 7 to 7.5. But this guy will end up being more influential than the first guy. And he's going to be more influential as he gets older. The first guy you gave me, he's going to be on top in his mid-50s, and then it's not going to be as good anymore. This guy right here, he's going to be very, very influential even in old age. Plus, he looks younger too.
So you said 6.5?
No, 7.5.
7.5. And then first
influence, I would say 8.5, 9. But that's going to, some people are late bloomers. He's going to get there.
07/16/2001.
I mean, listen, brother. My advice to you, don't trust anybody. Don't allow anyone to stab you in the fucking back, because that's a problem that snakes have. You're very loyal to people. You look out for people, but then people stab you in the back as a snake. And I hate that fucking word in the influencer world. You got snake. You got snake. Snakes are some of the most loyal people I know. I have never been, quote unquote, snaked by a snake. But we do know that you look out for people who are good for you. But if someone crosses you, you're going to try to get the son of a bitch back. That's how snakes operate. Snakes are very vindictive, and that's why people know you fuck with me too long, I might do something. So at the end of the day, I think that your life is going to take a big change in your 30s. I think that's when you're going to maybe even run for politics.
What would you rate success monetarily out of 10?
I mean, listen, $1 million isn't a lot of money anymore. I would easily say that by the time you're in with the way the financial system is going, By the time you're about 33 years old, if you don't have 80 mil, I'll be surprised.
So maybe like a 7.5, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I don't think that's not your main goal in life, bro. You got to learn as much as possible. You're not like all these 7s are already power hungry. Power hungry. Now, I could tell the type of women you like. You're more into athletic women, 100%, because that's what 8s and snakes like. They like them more in the athletic type, the fitness model type. That's exactly what someone with your type of birthday would like, correct?
I'd say so.
Yeah, of course. I don't miss. And I just met this guy today.
I'll go through these next 4 pretty quick. So 05, 07, 1998.
05, 07, 1998. Smart guy for a tiger. Tigers are usually the athletic ones. Tigers are, you can't even spell the word fighter without tiger. So like pretty much the same. That's how the English language is so on point. Andrew Tate is a tiger. Islam is a tiger. Think about it. The Prophet Muhammad was born in the tiger year. And it's a very masculine religion, no matter what you think about it. So some people call him the warlord Muhammad because that's what they did. They went to war all the time. So tigers tend to be very aggressive, very masculine, like the alpha male type. But because he's born in the 7th, he's going to have some brains. Most tigers are morons. You can't have everything in life. You can't have everything in life. Look at Tom Cruise, good-looking dude, has a bag, looks very young. And imagine if he was smart too. Wouldn't be fair. So the whole system is based off, you have some strong points and some weak points. But that birthday right there is really good for intelligence and looks and being an athlete because he's a tiger and also born in the 7th. And that numerology from the 7th gives him some brain power. So sometimes you have numerology and astrology birthdays that complement each other. He should be good at social media too. Good talker, good at cracking jokes, funny guy. But he's not good in relationships, like awful. And that guy should never get married. So make sure you tell him I said that.
What's that one's life path?
3.
What would their success level be monetarily, you think? Out of 10?
5, 6.
5, 6?
5, 6. If he's going to make it, it's going to be through social media or through being a comedian of some sorts. I mean, listen, he might not be the richest guy in the world, but he has other advantages, if you know what I mean.
July 8th, 2005.
July 8th, 2005. This would be a workaholic. This is someone who works a lot, someone whose money is up and down, very loyal. Is this a friend of yours?
Mm-hmm.
And that person you can trust. Rooster and snake that's the best relationship for a snake. Rooster. My wife's a rooster. I'm a snake. And again, it worked for over 20 years. And it's going to continue to work for all you haters out there. But when it comes down to it, this is a loyal person, someone you can trust. I would put his monetary probably about 7.5. But he's going to have to outwork everybody else.
Is he 22?
You can make that argument that he is. He definitely has 22 energy, but I would call him a 22-4 because he can go back and forth between both.
05, 20, 1996.
A manipulative guy or a woman, whoever that is. Very manipulative, good looking.
This is a woman, I'll say that. This is
very manipulative, calculating, smart as hell, and she has the looks to go with it. So if you can't tell she's manipulative, it's because she's very good at it.
Success level?
Depends what her manipulation level is, in all honesty. But she's going to be one of those people who are constantly in the game. Because pretty much every birthday you're giving me is like a 5 or an 8 or a 3 and stuff like that. And these are what I expect around social media and things of that nature. Success level, that one would be a little bit more difficult to say. How blunt you want me to be?
Sure.
She has an addictive personality, and she has to get past that addictive personality. Guys have been some trouble in her life, some stability from that point. Next year is going to be a tough year because that's their enemy year. But overall, very intelligent person, and I would say she should always trust her gut. If there's something wrong, she'll get knots in her stomach, and she will be able to validate that herself.
Maybe like a 4, 5, 6, 7. What would you put her?
5.5.
5.5?
5.5. But, she could get married to the right guy. With women, it's a little bit more difficult because if they're good looking, anything is possible for a woman who has good looks. For a guy, I hate to break it to Clav, but, that shit fades for a guy.
Hey, really quick, if at this point in the podcast you're starting to think there's some truth to numerology, but how do I use this in my own life? You guys are going to want to check out Gary's app, Q. By simply putting in your name and your birthday, it'll use numerology to help you make decisions around your friendships, businesses, and even the compatibility of your soulmate. And for the record, I'm not going to say I believe in it 100%, but it is strange seeing the patterns with numbers in my own life and how many guests on this podcast use numerology to make money. But if you want to try it out for yourself, just go to jackneel.com/Q or scan the QR code on screen. You can also hit the first link in the description, but anyway, guys, back to the podcast.
Last one on this, July 14th, 1986.
July 14th, 1986. 9 life path, extremely adaptive, tiger, masculine energy, born in the 4th. Hella charismatic. A lot of charisma here. Lots of charisma over here. I would say that if that person wanted to be in the spotlight, if that person wanted to dominate, they could. I would say that they have to be very careful that they don't get locked up doing stupid shit. I'll just leave it at that.
What would be the success level of that one?
Depends on how hard they work. Some people, it's based off how hard they put in. If you're, like, for instance, say you're born on the 28th. No matter what, a 28 will have more money even if it does nothing. But Bill Gates outworked all the other 28s. That's why he's a 4 life path in total. 4 is the number of the worker, and he's born on a 28. So again, a 28 will have so much more success than everyone else, but a 28 that works will have it up to here. Same thing with every other number. You got to put in work.
It's the last one. If you had to give a number, would you put 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10? What would you say?
6.
6?
6.5.
Okay.
And is this a guy?
Yeah.
I'll speak to him very bluntly. Make sure these hoes don't fuck you up. That's going to be the main problem in his life. These women messing him up in life. He needs to focus on what he wants in life and not just chase ass all day.
Well, I won't go through all the names that we did, but yeah, like I'll pop up the people on screen. It's all well-known people. You got who would be the richest pretty well.
I always get the richest ones easily.
Do you know Alex Hormozi?
Is that his birthday?
That was the first one you did. The second one you said most influential would be Tristan Tate. The entertainer was Mr. Beast.
Makes sense.
I tried to pick people that were well known, but you wouldn't know their birthday.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, Tristan Tate, I should have known. That's a 7/14. I should have known Tristan Tate. But let me just say this about Tristan. If Tristan didn't have Andrew Tate as a big brother, he'd still be eating out of that KFC trash can.
Interesting.
What's up, brother?
It is fascinating that you said he's better connector, and that I think that's kind of like his role in the business at the very least. Like he's more of the networking guy. I
mean, listen. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I don't care. In 2022, Sneeko went all the way to Romania to visit the Tates. Andrew never liked his ass. He never liked him. He didn't want him anywhere near the real world. Tristan liked him, though. Tristan was the guy who kind of took him under his wing. He's like, don't worry what Andrew says. I got you. And he kind of, was a big brother there. And if you look at Tristan, he's a 3 life path. And people who are 3s get along very well with 8s. So Sneeko's an 8. He gets along with Tristan. And who else does he get along with? Someone I used to manage by the name of John Zerka, another 3 life path. So the 3s and 8s have great chemistry together. So you could look at numerology, you could tell a lot just by it.
Who would I get along with better of those two?
Tristan.
You think so?
Yeah, Tristan.
Interesting.
Tristan, you would definitely get along with better. Andrew, you would probably look up to more, though.
Interesting. You're pretty accurate with everyone, especially the woman that you listed. It's the youngest self-made billionaire as of like yesterday.
Love it.
Interesting.
Love it. So most of these women get money off divorcing men, but not Sheryl Sandberg. CFO of Facebook. She's born on the 28th. Not Jessica Alba, born on the 28th, self-made billionaire. So a lot of these self-made billionaires have that 28 or 8 energy. Some of them have it in an advanced way that I will not reveal here because all of these guys are going to do is copy and paste me and just go with it. So we keep some information in the GG33 house.
So when you, I guess we'll just use me as an example. When you look at me, life path 8, born on the 16th, like, do you see that as Jack is a 7, Jack is an 8, Jack is a 7 with his personality and 8 with his destiny? Like,
and this is the way I look at it. These? I look at you as an 8 life path who has a secondary 7 energy, who's born in a snake year. That's the way I look at you. And
what does that mean by 8?
To me, the secondary numbers there to complement the main number. So you use your intelligence to figure out how to make money.
Right.
That's simple. That's the simplest way to explain it. You use that massive intelligence you have to figure out how to make money. That's how it works.
And does it mean I'm more likely to make money, or does it mean I'm more driven to make money?
It means that you will find a way to work smarter, not harder, to get that bag. That's what it means. Not saying, well, snakes can be a bit lazy. Like, I just find it so surprising. Like, I do a lot of podcasts, and people come up to me like, Gary, how do you have the time to do this? And I'm like, I work harder than most people in this game, but you compare me to a guy like Myron. I mean, this dude's doing 10 hours of content every day. A guy like Sean Kelly doing like 8 podcasts a day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm nowhere at that level, but I will put in more work than most people, but I will work smarter, not harder. Like, for instance, I had an Achilles injury right here. See it? Cut.
Yeah.
There. I had an Achilles injury in 2023, and that's when I was at my peak. And I'm like, damn, I kind of knew something like that was coming, but whatever, it happened. And I had to figure out, well, if I can't do content as much as I, would like, I need to do something else. I can't lose this momentum. So I decided to start being a manager. And I started managing guys like Zerka, Sneeko. That didn't last long, but Fresh and Fit still managed them. Dom Lucre, these are some of the biggest guys in the game. And don't ask me to manage you guys. I only manage people who are bigger than me, and that's like, 150 people in the influencer world. So here's what it comes down to. You have to know how to move in different scenarios. That's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be. I want to focus on myself, but I got injured and I had to adapt. And the main thing about life is you either adapt or you die. That's simple. Adapt or die. You don't adapt, you die. Kmart didn't adapt. Sears didn't adapt, they died. That's simple.
Based on the time this podcast is posted, it will be close to the year 2026,
Correct.
Or we'll be in the year 2026. Today we're filming on the 11th, per Gary's recommendation.
100%.
Based on your understanding, what changes can we expect in 2026?
Well, I mean, listen, I already let this clear, but let me make this abundantly clear. Crypto's crashing next year. Crypto will crash for 2 reasons. Number 1, crypto is under 9 energy. 9 is the dominant energy when it comes to crypto. Michael Saylor, Hart, all these big guys in crypto, usually 9s. That's one of the few things that 9s actually do pretty well. We'll get into that a little bit later, but next year is a 1 year. 2006, 2026 adds up to a 1. I mean, 10 breaks down to 1. So 1 and 9 are enemy numbers. So that's one reason crypto is going down. The next reason is it's the year of the horse, 2026. Right now, we're in the year of the snake. It's moving to the year of the horse, February 17, 2026. The horse is enemies with the rat, and Bitcoin is imprinted with rat energy. So basically, here's what it comes down to. We like to look at history. So what we do is we look for pattern recognition. 2014 was the last year of the horse. Bitcoin crashed around 92% that year. So we have statistics to back up what I'm saying. And that's the important thing. You don't have to believe me. All you got to do is look at the information yourself. And then just like Jack said, after you start digging into it, you'll be like, wow, this can't be a coincidence. At some point, it stops being a coincidence. I really do expect a deflationary cycle to come when it comes to the housing market. I think the housing market's going to crash a bit in 2026. And we have reason to believe this again with numbers. 2007 to 2008, that's when the housing crisis started. 2008 was a one universal year. 2026 is a one universal year. We see the pattern coming over and over. So next year, it's going to be extreme male energy. If you look at 9 energy, it's more feminine. You can't spell feminine without the number 9. So right now in 2025, a lot of feminine energy is out there. That's why Candace Owens is number 1. She's a snake, but she's also a woman. That's why she's elevated to the number 1 stature this year. Next year, it's going to be someone else. I think personally it's going to be Myron Gaines, but we'll see what happens. He's a horse in the horse year. But next year, 2026, it's going to be about extreme masculine energy. I see the fitness influencers going up like this again. You know, they always have their years where the fitness influencers take over. Next year is probably going to be one of those years where you're going to see new fitness influencers rise. Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You're a Christian, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a man who goes to church every Sunday?
No.
Okay. Were you ever that person when you were young or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Does numerology and Christianity conflict for you? Because I saw that podcast with you and Nick. Does that conflict with you at all?
I would think the monotheistic view of this would be that God designed a universe and that there would be a code in which he writes it to have balance.
Correct.
And that this could be the code written for it. I think a lot of, like occult type things, if they're used in alignment with God, it's probably okay. But also the argument is, why didn't Jesus do these things? But some people think that Jesus did do these things. If you look at...
When did Jesus die?
33?
Tattooed on me, bro.
Yeah.
And what people have to understand is if they believe in Jesus Christ and they believe in what some call the Christ energy, which some compare to the 33 energy, you have to understand he died at 33 for a reason. When it's 32 degrees, water is frozen. When it's 33 degrees, it's liquefied. The Freemason did that Fahrenheit system on purpose to basically show people undercover that 33 is the highest vibration a human being can get. And once they get to that vibration, again, the Christ-like consciousness, then things get a little bit different where money isn't my main goal in life. Obviously, I'm rich and I want to have all that, but I would rather have all the knowledge in the world and all the money in the world. And I know you're born on the 16th, you feel the same way. Anyone who's born on the 7th, 16th, 25th will take all the knowledge in the world over all the money in the world. Say someone's born on the 5th, 14th, 23rd, they will take all the women in the world over all the knowledge and all the money in the world. If someone is born on the 1st, 10th, 19th, 28th, even if they're a woman, they're going to have some leadership ability. Now, I understand a lot of people, who are women, take offense to a lot of my talking points. But remember, I always said if women are born on the 1st, 10th, 19th, 28th, they have some leadership ability. And I said Jessica Alba and Sheryl Sandberg as examples of that. So yes, do I think most women should be in the house cooking, cleaning? 100%, but not 100%. There's always exceptions with numerology, every single time.
My sister is a 28, and
she's about that bag. She's about that bag.
You would think she's a researcher, like neuroscientist type.
And she works hard, doesn't she? Thinks like a man, though.
I'd say so, yeah.
And all women who have one energy think like a man. Like, one of the biggest tragedies in life right now, and you're kind of lucky because you're born 2001, so you have a 1 on the back end to cover the 2. But in the 19, 18, 1700s, everyone was born with at least one 1 in their birthday. Now we have the 2000s, and that 1 ain't there anymore. And that's why we have so many beta male bitches right now who, cry and complain about everything because they have that feminine energy out there. And that's why the New World Order waited until 2000 hit to start pushing their agenda. It never would have worked with all those people born in the 1900s. But now with your generation coming up, especially the 2000, 2002, 2003, not so much the 2001 or the 2010, but all those others, that's kind of beta energy, whether they're men or women. And that's exactly why the New World Order pushed when it did.
I want to touch back to, there's also a 33rd degree Freemason, right?
Correct.
That's the highest level. But
no, it's not. That's what they say it is. But
interesting. the Bible and the Torah use numerology, or is Hebrew kind of tied in with numbers? Because I think God is a 7, Jesus might be a 7, Christ might be a 7.
They say, at least in Eastern Orthodox culture, that Jesus was born January 7th. And the other side here, it's December 25th, 2 and 5, 7, January 7th, 7. So that 7th energy is definitely around that Jesus Christ. But when it comes down to Jesus, Muhammad, Allah, I'm just not a big believer in all that stuff. I need facts. I
think Yahweh is also 7.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want to get down that road, look at Israel. Is Ra El as an Elohim. So my conviction and what I believe in is, and this is numerology and astrology is basically taking me down this path, is I believe that there's a prime creator. I refuse to call him a god because that's an insult. Too many false gods to call the prime creator a god. And I believe this world is run by demons. I believe this world is run by jinn. If you look at the fact that there's like 1 billion people every single day that are just trying to find water and food to survive, this is hell for most people. You know, I'm living good. You seem to be living good. Some of the people who are watching us in the Western world are living good. But to most people, Earth is hell. And to me, I believe this world is run by demons. If you look at as in ISIS, as in Islam, it's right there. Then you look at Ra. Don't you have something called a Quran or a Sutra? You know, you start looking at all these books and you see the Ra El as in Elohim or angel. You know, it's every Bible. So to me, the Christians, I understand you guys are going to get mad at me. I don't care. The Christians, the Muslims, the Jews, you can't leave them out because all of a sudden I'm a Zionist if I don't mention them too. Like I was talking about this anti-Zionist stuff 20 years ago and everyone else is getting credit for it now. So I'm happy the movement's doing well. Not too sure I like the people who are the face of the movement because they got ulterior motives. We'll get into that. But, you know, at the end of the day, when I look at everything that's going on, I believe that this world is run by demons. And when you pray, you become prey. I personally believe that if you pray to Jesus, Allah, Muhammad, Buddha, whatever, Yahweh, I believe you're praying to a demon. And the real God, the real prime creator, will never demand worship. Respects of sand to him. He doesn't need our worship. Only thing he needs are us to comply with his laws. I don't need the Bible to tell me not to steal. I don't need the Quran to tell me not to cheat on my wife. I don't need that stuff. I know that myself. Now, do some low IQ people need something to fear? Sure. Okay. But I'm under the impression that if you do that stuff out of fear, you'll never get through the gates because there's something called chakras. There's something called auras. And if you have an aura that you're only doing the right things out of fear, you'll never get through the gates of heaven. You got to do the right things because it's the right thing to do, not because you're scared to do the right thing. And when I look at, you know, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, it all comes down to the same thing. You know, you can steal, you can rape, you can murder, but as long as you take Jesus Christ or Allah as your Lord and Savior, it's all good. Sorry, that's not the way karma works. I believe in karma. I believe in doing the right thing. I believe in being a strong family person. And I will be judged like every single one of us when it's our time to meet the prime creator and answer for our sins, answer for our crimes. And hopefully, I believe I've done the right thing by spreading numerology and astrology and giving people an edge in life.
I want to touch back to the pain. You said this world is hell. From your perspective, why do people have the same patterns of pain in their life?
Karma from a past life, most likely.
Karma? Can you explain to me how you view karma?
If you do bad things, they come back to you. Sometimes, like for instance, if you're a 1 life path, a 5 life path, a 33 life path, maybe you do bad things, they come back to you next lifetime. For you, not that easy. You're an 8, shit boomerangs back to you right away. So as an 8, you got to be very careful because your karma will hit you this life. Other people, karma might come to them next life. But
So you believe we're reincarnated over and over again?
All of them. Like, for instance, if you're an 11, 22, or 33, you're an old soul. You've been reincarnated quite a few times in life. I look at the 1 through 9 as kind of like the baby souls, and the 11, 22, and 33 kind of as the souls that pass the missions of the 1 through 9 and then get a right to try it as a master number. And master numbers are much more difficult than anything to do with single digits. I believe 9 is the first reincarnation. Infant starts with the I. Child starts with the I. I is the 9th letter. So I do believe 9 is the infant of the numerology system. And that would make sense because they're so, dependent on looks. They like shiny things. The way I look at 9s, they like shiny things. And since 9s are so obsessed with the looks, that's a good way to get stuck in the matrix forever. A lot of people who are rich, a lot of people who are religious like to cope. Oh, I don't have money, but I have a strong connection to God. You can't take the money with you. You're right. I can't take the money with me. But you going, becoming a bodybuilder or a looks maxing, you can't take that shit with you either. So we can go both ways here. At the end of the day, there is no justification, at least in the capitalistic society, to be broke, not be able to benefit your family, help your wife, help your kids, and then say you have a connection to God. You're a joke.
So you believe you start as a 9, and then do you believe it's just 8, 7, 6, 5, or do you think it's just different iterations?
I believe the 7 is like the bridge between the master numbers. Because if you look at 11, 11's the baby of the master numbers, goes up 22, 33. So you have the 11, and then you have the 7. And I believe the 7 is the bridge between the normal numbers to the master numbers. And the reason I believe that is if you look at the 7, it has the word Eve in the middle, just like 11. And 7 and 11 are soulmate signs. So that's why you have a store called 7-Eleven all over the world.
What can you tell about a person by the letters in their name?
Usually people who have letters that it's usually the first letter, first vowel I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the whole name. That gematria stuff, again, the people who use that, I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it's just not that effective. That's not the real code. If it was, you guys would be a lot more successful picking football games because that's all these gematria guys do. They pick football games and they're usually all wrong. I don't want to mention his name, but a guy named Zach, he's like literally can't gamble because his wife will whoop his ass, but yet he's selling you guys all picks like the suckers you are, and then you keep losing and you keep blaming him, but who's the idiot who keeps buying the picks? So it is what it is. As me, I call it the biggest comeback in sports history. You saw the clip, I'm sure. The Cavs, 2016, were down 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors, the team that won 73 games that year. And when they were down 3-1, I went on the Cleveland radio station and I basically said, I guarantee they're winning the NBA Finals. That's never happened in history, but it happened. And that's the thing. I believe in numerology so much. I made a bet that if I was wrong, people would be bringing up that clip every single day. I never would have made it. I bet it all on the line on something that never happened before, and that's how I made it big in Cleveland after 2016. So I believe in what I do. My life is based off numerology and astrology, and I made it extremely successful because I followed the numbers. Does that mean I worship the numbers? What, are you out your fucking mind? Who worships numbers? They're a tool to use. You understand? It's a tool that the prime creator, what you guys call God, left us to use. And there's a lot of guys who are Christians, and they'll be like, yeah, numerology and astrology is real, but we're not supposed to use it. What? How does that work? So you have a car, but you're not supposed to use it because you could get in an accident? That's just a stupid way of thinking of things. So you have to look at it this way. If the Christians and the Muslims truly believe in what they say, the divination is all bad, why are you looking at the Weather Channel? How many times are you about to go somewhere? Oh, how's the weather going to be in this location? How should I dress? That's divination. You're trying to figure out the future. So why is that okay? And what I'm doing is not, unless Nick Fuentes wants to tell me that the Weather Channel is satanic too. This is comedy. This is pure comedy. And again, when you look at it, you understand why people are in the positions they are. 4 of the most banned people on social media. Tell me if you agree. Alex Jones, Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, not so much anymore. Thank you, President Trump. And again, most of these guys are going to say, praise Allah, I got my YouTube back. Praise Christ. If that's the case, how come that you didn't get it back during the Biden administration? How about praise Donald J. Trump for actually putting pressure on Google and getting them to basically start censoring a lot less? These are facts. I mean, I only started going YouTube live this year because Donald Trump was president. If he wasn't president, I'd probably be in Saudi Arabia right now.
I might have missed this, but explain the letters to me. I think that's the last part we're missing of the system itself.
I believe that there was a couple beta languages to test things, and I believe that English is the final masterpiece creation. I believe they started using the Greek language as a beta test form of using numerology and astrology within the language. I believe the second form they perfected it in was Hebrew. And I think the final perfected form is English. So if you look at Greek and Hebrew, first 2 vowels, E-E, but they're in the second position. Where English, the final version, the E is in the last position. And let's not talk about evolution. Evolution starts with the E. So anything with E would be most likely to change the most. If someone's a 5 life path, they usually start off being like some kind of liberal, and then they go straight to being a straight conservative. People who are 5s evolve the most throughout their lives. And again, we talked about this in the very beginning. 5 is one number that's open on both sides. So they go through the most amount of change, which would make sense why evolution starts with E.
So for, I guess, Jack Neel, let's say, would you look at the J? Would you look at the N?
I look at the J and the A. I would look at the J being the first letter and A being the first vowel. J is the 10th letter. Jack is a 1. So that would, even though you don't seem like you're too argumentative, you definitely are. People who have that A energy tend to be argumentative. I'll give you an example. 1 is the number of the lawyer. First vowel in a lawyer, A. First vowel in attorney, A. They argue A, the law, A. Boom, 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 boom.
So it's 2 1s, the J and the A?
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Interesting. And then what happens if someone, will it change your life if you have a nickname? Like your life path a little bit?
The vibration of energy that comes out will change it. There's no doubt about it. Give me a famous person with a nickname.
GG33.
GG33, that's basically by name.
Andrew Tate goes by Cobra, let's say.
Cobra. Well, that's interesting. If you look at his, Andrew says he's not into numerology, even though I told him he'd be famous in 2022 on a phone call in 2018. He won't admit it, but I can put up receipts that we actually had that phone call. I'm the one guy he's scared to say anything about because I actually have receipts. So he won't blood my name anymore like he used to attack me all the time before he got famous. But if you look at Andrew Tate, he does use the number 8. Tate, 8. So that's the why he does it. But if you look at a lot of people with famous nicknames, it can change the energy of that person. Like Mr. Beast. If you look at the Mr. Beast logo, the colors are the same exact colors as the transgender flag. So again, Mr. Beast has the same colors in his logo as the transgender flag, and his name is Mr. Beast. And who's that co-star he had? Was a trans?
Chris.
Yeah. Interesting how that works. I refuse to believe that a guy with no charisma like him made it big. That's a manufacturer plant right there. There's no chance in hell he made it. Listen, I don't like Nick Fuentes, but he's a very charismatic person. He has great monologue skills. I respect that. Andrew Tate, another piece of shit. He's literally a glorified pimp. But some of the best monologues in the game. He is a good talker. Tim Pool, no matter what people say about him, great talker. Candace Owens, great talker. So you can say a lot of things about the people I don't like in this game. And I'm not saying I don't like all of those guys, but I respect them for being the best of what they do. See, that is the difference between a man and a woman. When a man doesn't like you, he can still respect you. If a woman doesn't like you, she doesn't like you the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress, everything. That is the main difference between the two sexes. I can hate people and still respect them. If a woman hates somebody, there's no respect. She hates you. And again, that's the difference there. But when I look at Mr. Beast, that's a plant. Someone with 0 ounces of charisma like him would never have made it big without help. He signed a deal with somebody. And that's why his name is Mr. Beast.
You talk about plants a lot. Who do you think is a plant?
Well,
and what do you mean by plant?
Well, we got to talk about Fuentes then. If you look at Fuentes at his work in 2019, 2018, he didn't talk with his hands as much. He didn't change his tones as much. I can tell when someone's trained. He's been trained by somebody. He was already good. He was good before. Someone made him the best. He is you're talking about someone who doesn't like him. I will give him credit for giving the best damn monologues in the game, but he was trained. How does someone, I have GG33 members. I would say about 6 to 7 of my GG33 members were arrested for January 6th. A lot of my guys were arrested that day. I was there that day. When I saw what was going on, and I'm like, wait a second. They're trying to overturn the election with flags. I'm sorry, you don't overturn the election with flags. I'm not going to go any further, but that's not the way you do it. So when I saw that, I immediately left. Unfortunately, I didn't get the message to all my guys, but you have Fuentes out there saying, take the Capitol up. So my position is I believe that he was probably, brought into questioning after January 6th, and he was told that if you don't do this, this, and this, you're going to jail, or you can do this, this, and this, and we'll make you a star. Like, where are those bot accounts coming from? India, Bangladesh? He's not that big. They're making it seem like he's that big, and now because he's getting so much traction on social media, which is obviously fake, all the people start making him mainstream now. He's allowed to do this. He's allowed to do that. A lot of it has to do with President Trump. But no, that guy's a narcissist. And 2 things that bother me about him. Number 1, I don't trust women with a large body count, and I don't trust men with no body count. Everything is yin-yang. So if a man has no body count, he'll betray you quickly. It is what it is. If a woman has a high body count, she'll betray you too. So it's always yin-yang. Obviously, he says he's a virgin. Okay, whatever. Second, how long you been in the game?
I did social media since 2019.
Okay. Has there been people that you brought up with you?
I'd say so.
Yeah. When you look at me, I've elevated other numerologists out there. When you look at people like Myron, Fresh and Fit, Dom Lucre, people I deal with, they've all elevated people with them. Who has Nick Fuentes brought up with him? Nobody.
Maybe me.
Stop. He has brought up nobody with him. Absolutely nobody. And he seems like a narcissist. And I'm not, see, the thing is, you don't argue with Nick Fuentes about points. Defending Israel is an indefensible position from the evidence that's out there right now. Now, there's about 50-something Muslim nations. There's about 20-something Christian nations. Obviously, the Jewish people can have one nation as well. Okay? No one's saying that Israel doesn't have the right to defend itself. But to bomb defenseless people for years, that why would you do that? So no one's defending Israel's actions, and I am with Nick Fuentes on a lot of his politics. You saw my videos before. I was talking the same shit he was before he was talking it. And now everyone wants to call me a Mossad agent. Why? Because I'm Jewish? No. I'm a Jewish man who married a Muslim woman in 2004 when it was difficult. Now everyone's all good with the Muslims. Go back to 2004. They said they were responsible for 9/11 back then. I don't care about public perception. I don't. But when I look at a guy like him, you don't bring anyone up with you. And everyone who helped bring you up, as soon as you're past them, you don't deal with them anymore. That's a narcissist, and that's a very, very dangerous person to have in the position of power. So, yes, I agree with a lot of the talking points. Yes, I think no dual citizen should have anything to do with the United States government or have the possibility of being in the government. I believe AIPAC should be registered under FARA. I believe all of that stuff. But the guy who's leading this movement is very, very questionable. We need another guy at the top. a guy who people can actually trust, a guy who actually goes out there and is for the people, not for himself. Nick Fuentes doesn't give a damn about anyone else but himself, and he wants to make himself the number one guy, and anyone who argues with him, oh, he's going to try to destroy him. How does he get all of this information? I got people who work for me who can figure everything out, and they can't do a scratch what this guy does. The only way that's possible...
Give me an example.
Okay. If someone goes after me on Twitter, and they're an Anon account, and they start talking shit about me, cool. They start talking shit about my wife, my kids, I'm going to call people up, find out who this guy is, and if I can dox him, I will. That takes effort. I have a whole team that does that. How did Nick Fuentes find so quickly that Pierce, what's his name? Just that interview? Pierce Morgan, he was a to his wife. How did he find that information out so freaking quickly? And you go through all the people he's had beef with, Tucker Carlson, CIA. Where's he getting all this information from? Someone is supplying with him with this information.
Who?
I don't know. Maybe the same guy who sent him $250,000 via crypto. He never got it. There's a lot of questionable things with this guy. And again, I want to make this clear. I am not arguing his talking points. But sometimes you got to ask, who's the messenger? That's all I'm saying. And he will never debate me on that subject. Promise you.
Do you have the clarifying, or do you have the view of one group running everything, or do you think it's combating groups?
No. You have Zionists who obviously are not the most powerful people in the world, as we thought, and everyone thought a couple years ago, because if they were, why would all this be allowed to be exposed? So I believe there's Marxist Jews who are funding the LGBT, who are funding communism. I believe there's Zionist Jews who are basically funding conservative movements. So I don't just look at, oh, it's just the Zionists. I think a much bigger problem is the CCP. I think the Chinese Communist Party is a much bigger problem. And while everyone is focused on the Zionists, no one's focused on the Marxist Jews. And here's what's going to happen. Zionism and America are somewhat tied together. There's no doubt about that. Even the people who hate Israel will admit that. They're somewhat tied together. Some people believe America controls Israel. Other people could think Israel controls America. That's all nonsense. Forget about all that. But when it comes down to it, to think they're the only group, listen, everyone is attacking the Zionists, but no one's looking at the Marxists who are propping up China right now. If you take down the Zionists, that's not going to be completely good for America, because they run the Federal Reserve, and if they take down the Federal Reserve, America goes with it. So why do you think Trump actually listens to these people? Because they have leverage in the banking sector. It's not because he's compromised in the Epstein list like all these morons say. If that was actually true, the Democrats would have released that stuff when Biden was president. Think about it this way. They tried to kill Donald Trump. They killed his ex-wife. They killed his brother. They tried to put him in jail. If they had something on Donald Trump and the Epstein files, they would have released it. So it's a moot point. It's a moot point. But people want to keep talking about release the Epstein files. Anyone who thinks Donald Trump has done a bad job is either some kind of jihadi, Muslim, or someone who is a far-left Democrat. Donald Trump has shut down the border. Think about it when Biden was president. Everyone was talking about, oh, the border. Donald Trump shut it down. Donald Trump shut down the border to such an extent, housing prices are falling in some areas. That's how much he's done it. Look what else Donald Trump does. There's no more trade deficit. There's a trade surplus now. Donald Trump said he might eliminate income tax on a federal level because he's taking so much money in tariffs. The Chinese, Xi Jinping, the president of China, right now he is facing backlash in the Chinese Communist Party. He's not in absolute control anymore because Donald Trump put those tariffs on, and now people in China are beginning to question whether Xi is the right leader to deal with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has done a lot of great things. He stopped 8 wars. A lot of people is like, as soon as they bomb Iran, it's World War III. No, Fuentes, you were wrong. He bombed Iran. And what did Iran do? They put up the white flag right away. No one wants smoke with America. Nobody. And the fact that people think that Iran's this big paper fucking tiger that's going to do something to us, it's an absolute joke. Iran, and one thing did really bother me during that whole thing. If you hate Israel, that's your right as an American. I'm a Jewish man telling you, you have the right to say anything you want about Israel because it's America first, America only. I don't give a fuck about Israel. I don't give a fuck about Palestine. I don't even give a fuck about this country. That's how I operate. Only this country, even though I have a lot of international fans, I'm sorry, I'm America first. But when I look at the complete picture of what's going on, the fact that people would take Iran's side over America because they hate Israel is unpatriotic. And that's uncalled for. And we go back to Fuentes. I mean, he started supporting Trump the same time I did, 2015, 2016. Donald Trump made him a household name. And after January 6th, all of a sudden, he's against Trump. He told people to vote for Harris. He literally told the people to vote from the whore from California. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? How do you go from that to that? So you take all those things together. He told people to vote for Kamala Harris. He's out here not bringing anyone up with him except he's doing everything himself. It just tells us that he might be a plant.
These psyops that you talk about, who designs them?
Well, first of all, they're generational. These psyops are, think that you're in a position of power right now, and you're going to teach your kids, and they're going to teach their grandkids to basically keep the psyop going. It's generational. The Schofield Bible was rewritten in, I think, 1901, and it put in there, Jews are the chosen people. They wanted to brainwash American society for about 40, 50 years until the state of Israel came, so the Christian population in America would support that. It was generational. It took a long time. It wasn't 1 year, 2 years. That's why these people keep winning. They keep doing it for a long, long time. So all the psyops, or at least the effective ones, are generational. It doesn't take 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. It takes decades, as I showed you with the Schofield Bible.
Who's designing them now? Like the short-term ones we see, I guess.
I mean, the CIA is definitely a very dirty organization. You have the FSB, you have Chinese intelligence. It tells you a lot about Chinese intelligence when people don't even know what their name is. They just call them Chinese intelligence. I do believe the intelligence agencies of the world run a lot of these psyops, like Flat Earth. I wonder if the CIA just has a competition to see who can come up with the stupidest psyop to get people to believe it, and then they call it Flat Earth. You got to be a complete moron to believe Flat Earth is real. I mean, you could literally go and ask pilots who fly for a living. They'll tell you the Earth is not flat. Okay, so I believe a lot of these psyops are put out there to basically make society dumb. I mean, one of the biggest psyops is women not breastfeeding kids. When women breastfeed kids, their IQ goes up 9 to 10 points. This is scientifically proven. So when a woman is at work and she doesn't have the ability to breastfeed the kids get dumber. There's fluoride in the water system that dumps people up. So you have a lot of people now in 2025 going to 2026 where we have some of the more evolved people now than any time in human history. But the flip side is LGBT, trans, feminist. We have more devolved people than at any time in human history, and that's the yin yang of all of it. As for who's doing this, I can't give you the exact answer. I see smoke. I just don't know where the fire is coming from. But I would say that we have found out that the Zionists do not run the show, because if they did, why would people like Fuentes, why would people like Candace Owens be allowed to say what they say? They wouldn't.
Why is Candace allowed to say so much?
I mean, Candace is born in 1989, the year of the snake. This is 2025, the year of the snake. 9 is a very feminine number. Feminine, a woman 9 who's a snake is on top of the game right now. I think it's all energy. And I believe that when 2026 hits, her voice will be diminished to a point. She's enjoying her ride right now. Like, for instance, what Andrew Tate did with social media, no one's ever going to duplicate. No one ever is going to have 50,000 editors putting out 7 videos a day. That's never going to happen again. They just won't allow that. But he was the man in 2022. He was the man. Does he have the same relevance in 2025 as 2022? No. If he did, he wouldn't sign with Misfits and been, jumping through these hoops to stay relevant, because he has to do stuff like that now to stay relevant. Candace is in her own energy right now. Just like, again, I expect Myron Gaines to be one of the top guys next year because he's a horse in a horse year. Things work out for people in their own energy, including yourself. Would you double up this year?
Yeah.
Snake in the snake year. Makes sense?
How can someone determine their animal sign?
It's once every 12 years. So, for instance, the first sign is the rat. So rat year was 1972, next year 1984, next year 1996, next year 2008. It's every 12 years up or down. Snake year is 77, 89, 2001, 2013. So it's every 12 years up and down. But if you want me to go through the system real quick, I will. The rat is the enemy sign of the horse. So a lot of people who are born in rat years are going to have some struggles next year because they're going to be in their enemy sign. OPEC was found in a rat year, so I do expect oil prices to drop next year. The rat and horse are enemies. Kobe, a horse, died in the first couple of days of 2020, a rat year. So you see how the system makes sense. And again, since we're in LA, everyone knows Shaq and Kobe didn't like each other. Enemy signs. Next enemy sign combination is the goat and the ox. Saddam Hussein was born 1937, year of the ox. First Gulf War, 1991. Second Gulf War, 2003, both goat years. Again, every single time. Adolf, born 1889, year of the ox. He came to power in 1933, year of the rooster. Rooster and ox are friend signs. He had Europe completely dominated in 1941. 1941 is the snake year. Snake and ox are friend signs. Yet he lost Stalingrad. He lost Kursk in 1943. Those were goat years, enemy sign. He lost power as a defensive war ever since then. Next enemy sign combination is tiger and monkey. So America is a monkey nation. Nick Fuentes was banned here. Andrew Tate was banned here. Alex Jones was banned here. They're all tigers banned in the monkey nation. Facebook is also IG, Facebook. They're both monkey energy too. Think about Facebook. Why did it win the war between MySpace and Facebook? Facebook was founded in 2004. You're the monkey. It matched America's energy, so it took over. Next enemy sign combination is the cat and the rooster. We know P. Diddy and 50 Cent don't like each other. Again, enemy sign combinations. Next enemy sign combination is the dragon and the dog. Well, I mean, listen, Donald Trump didn't get along too well with Nancy Pelosi. He didn't get along too well with Kamala Harris. So again, dragon, dog, enemy signs. And the last one is the snake and the pig. And when it comes down to it, John F. Kennedy was born in the year of the snake. He said he was going to destroy the CIA, and it looks like the CIA got him instead. Snake, pig, enemy signs. And the CIA was so on this that they made sure to call the invasion of Cuba the Bay of Pigs to insult John F. Kennedy, the snake. They knew exactly what they were doing. So that's the enemy sign combinations. And when people are in their enemy years, bad things happen. It is what it is. But it's a fair system. Think of it this way. 12 people are going down the highway speeding. One person can get caught. It's going to be the guy in his enemy year.
Should you avoid certain pets if you're based on the year you're born?
Good fucking question, bro. If you're a dragon, don't have a dog. That's your enemy sign. And again, I love dogs. But as a dragon, no matter how much you love that dog, if you have I'll give you an example. One of my students told me this. Her next door neighbor was Jehovah's Witness. And, Jehovah's Witness, that's a whole different level of crazy when it comes down to it. It is what it is. And she was bedridden for about 3 months. And she got a dog right before she got bedridden. So even though she loved that dog and that dog loved her, she was a dragon, and being around that dog made her sick. And my numerology student didn't have the heart to tell her because she's Jehovah's Witness. She believes this is all witchcraft, so she can't learn, and she had to suffer. because of it. As a snake, I don't eat pork. Now, I don't remember I told you about that. Now, most people don't eat pork or bacon because they're Muslims or Jewish or something to do with that. Me and you, we can't eat that stuff. It's literally poison to us.
Why?
Because the pig energy is enemy to the snake. So if you eat enough of that shit, it's going to make you very sick. It's like your enemy energy. It's like your kryptonite, bro. You can't touch it. Anything to do with pork products is extremely evil. So, I could say it's haram to, shout out my Muslim friends out there. But the reason I don't do it is because it's my enemy sign. I won't wear certain brands because, like, I have a Rolex right here, okay? Rolex was found in the snake year. I'm a snake. That's why I wear it. Not because, oh, look, there's watches more expensive than this. But AP was found in the pig year. You will never see an AP on me because it's bad energy. I have a Coach bag on. Shout out to Coach, but the reason I wear it is because it's a snake. So I'm a snake, and I have nothing but snakes around me, snake energy. I moved to Florida 2023. You didn't know who I was before I moved to Florida, but I moved to Florida, found in 1845, the year of the snake, because it matches my energy, and whoop, went right up and that's exactly what I keep telling you. You should move there, because you move there, you're going to blow up even more, because you're going to be in your own energy. That makes sense?
Yeah. Is there any other pets that would make any sense? Like people born in pig years should have a pet snake,
listen,
obviously.
If you're a cat, you probably shouldn't eat chicken.
What year are the cats?
99, 87. So people who are cats are like the psychologists in life. They're also really, really selfish people, man. Michael Jordan is the best example of a cat. This dude will play psychological mind games on a different level. He would go up to the opponents right before the game. What's up, dude? How you doing? Shake hands. Let's have dinner after the game. Then the game starts, he just destroys them. And it psychologically fucks them up. But that's what cats do. I remember his coach one day said, "Yo, Mike, there's no I in team." And he's like, "There sure is a me in that motherfucker, though." That's how cats operate. It's always themselves right here. So cats should obviously not eat too much chicken. Shouldn't raise chickens or roosters and stuff like that. Obviously, if you're a horse, don't have a rat as a pet. But who the hell has a rat as a pet? If you're a rat, don't eat horse meat. But obviously, I'm talking to the Chinese at that point.
What does it mean when you have the same birthday as a family member?
When two family members are born on the same day, based off my research, it means they have a past life connection. So maybe it's your mother or your father this lifetime, but maybe you were their mother or father last lifetime. So that's usually what I see when people are born on the same day. They usually have a past life connection.
And then how can you use numerology to find your soulmate? Do you believe in soulmates?
Oh, yeah. Here's the interesting part. I have done readings with many people, and they're with their soulmate, and then they found their soulmate from their past life. And that is such a difficult position, because you love this person, and all of a sudden you meet someone, and you have these feelings out of nowhere, and they're your soulmate from a past life. That's torture, bro. That is absolute torture. But yes, I do believe in soulmates. And the people born January 3rd and February 1st, they're the ones with the most soulmates of anyone in the world. That's why Greta is born January 3rd. That's why that Rittenhouse guy is born January 3rd. Nobodies who made it completely big have no charisma, have no nothing, but they made it big because a lot of people are attracted to their energy because they're born January 3rd. So if you're born January 3rd, you have a lot of soulmates out there. But if you're born on some days, you might have one or two. So it's very difficult for some people, like sevens. People who are like, I'm born on the 7th. If I didn't know numerology and astrology, I'd be divorced like the rest of you guys. I would be. The reason I have a strong relationship is because I found my pretty much perfect match. Now, the thing is, no matter how much you guys study, you're not going to learn what I know, at least not in a short amount of time. So that's why I created an app called the Q app. And the Q app is the best numerology astrology map ever made. It's like having a pocket me in there. I'm going to give you a free copy after we're done so you can start looking compatibility. Everything's on the Q app. You want to know what name brands match you. It's all there because, quite frankly, it's a better way to live. Listen, I'll tell you guys out there who are my critics. If you find something better than numerology and astrology, I'll follow you. Find me something better. I'm with you. No one's worshiping numbers here. No one's an atheist here. I believe in the prime creator, just not the stuff you guys worship.
What's the worst day to be born on?
19th. Let's go back to 2013. Actually, December 2012. My wife had a placenta previa, and I might be butchering the word, but she basically couldn't have a normal, vaginal birth. She had to have a C-section. And I wanted my kid born on a certain day. I wanted my kid born on the 21st, 2/21/2013. That's what I ended up getting. But I remember talking to the doctors, and they scheduled me for February 19th. Now, in numerology, 19 is the number of bad health. It's not a coincidence they called it COVID-19, which didn't do quite as much damage as the 19th Amendment, but, it is what it is. So when you look at the number 19, a lot of people born on the 19th, and when you put up this video, you're going to see the comments of people born on the 19th basically verifying this. They have a lot of health issues. Hearts, lungs, something's there. It's always something there. And it's a higher, and I'm saying every single person, but a higher percentage of people born on the 19th have health issues, especially when they're young, compared to anyone else. And I remember arguing with the doctor for about 1 hour saying, no, she's not having her pregnant. She's not going to have a baby on the 19th. And I didn't tell him I'm a numerologist and astrologer back then because no one knew what it was. Can you imagine? Like, even now it's somewhat taboo, but back then no one knew anything about it. So I told him it was against my religion. Whatever. I just made it up and stuff like that. But I got my way. Long story short, the day of the birth, you get a special badge as a parent that you can go into the room with all the babies. And there was one baby that was in real bad shape there. It was an incubator, lungs, everything. So I asked the nurse, what day is that baby born? She's like, I can't give you that information. And I saw a family member come in. What day is that baby born? February 19th. So because I knew numerology and astrology, I possibly saved my child from having a whole bunch of health defects. I personally believe 19 is a number of bad karma from a past life. I believe if you have born on the 19th, and again, this might not go for everyone, but a high majority of people, if you're born on the 19th, you did some fucked up things in your last life, and now it's time to pay the piper.
What's the significance of the number 0?
Amplifier. So if you have a 0 next to a 1, it amplifies the 1. If you have a 0 next to 20, it amplifies it. So 0 is like an amplifier in my mind.
What number has the most demonic energy?
I mean, if I had to pick a number, I'd probably say 13. Because if you look at the 13 bloodline Illuminati families, they really like to emphasize that number. And that number 13 is all over society. You have a team called the 49ers. 4 plus 9 is 13. They're going to say it's the 1849 gold rush. Yeah, convenient excuse. Then you have a team called the 76ers. I'm sure they'll say 1776. Convenient excuse. How come there's no other numbers that add up to anything but 13? So 7 and 6, 13 with the 76ers, 4 and 9, 13. So you have it in sports. You have it in movies. Ladder 49, 6 days, 7 nights, 13th warrior. They're always paying homage to these 13 bloodline families in invisible ways that you guys can't see.
Why do hotels skip the 13th floor?
It's bad luck. The people consider it bad luck, but you're not honestly skipping anything. The 14th is the 13th. You're not doing anything. You're just skipping it. I'll put it like this. When I look at everything that goes on, Marathon, McDonald's, M&M's, to me, it signifies homage to the 13 bloodline families. When I look at everything from the Chinese to the Russians, that 13's all over the place. If you look at our judicial system, 1 judge, 12 jurors. You look at the Federal Reserve, 1 main bank in D.C., 12 other banks. You look at astrology, 1 sun, 12 signs. It's always there. So to me, that's the way the elite pay homage in a hidden way to to the great families.
You said 19 was particularly unlucky. Apple never released the iPhone 9. Microsoft skipped Windows 9. And PlayStation won't create PS9. Why do tech companies always skip the number 9?
9 is, like I said, the first reincarnation. 9s have a lot of issues in this world. The biggest drug addicts are 9s. I remember about 15 years ago, I just used to, I never did drugs in my life. You know, I only smoke weed, so no one's going to accuse me of anything. I don't even drink alcohol, haram. But when it comes down to drug addicts, I used to go to rehab clinics and just ask people their birthdays. 50% of the time, the 9th, the 18th, the 27th. Jordan Peterson had a drug problem. He's a 9 life path. Cavicular's out here telling people he does meth. Another 9 life path doing drugs. So 9 is the lowest frequency, and I believe that's one of the reasons they don't want to use that number. 9 is also a number of ending. So they don't want to put that number out there and have something end. So that's why they skip the 8, go straight to the 10. By the way, I'm sure some numerologist is telling them to do that, and I 100% approve.
Interesting. I do have to touch back to what you said about the 13 families because I know a viewer watching is annoyed that I didn't ask you about it more. What's the thing with the 13 families?
Well, you got the Rothschilds, the Pinzer family. You got the Lee family in China, the Rockefellers who used to own America. And the Rockefellers pretty much bent the knee in 2000 when Chase Manhattan and J.P. Morgan merged. When they merged, that was the Rockefellers bending the knee to the Rothschilds. Also, when Barack Obama took office, that was the Rothschilds' boy taking out the Clintons, who Bill Clinton is the illegitimate son of a Rockefeller. So, you know, you have the Rockefellers and Rothschilds always battling, but the Rothschilds are way more powerful. So there's 13 families. I'm not going to go through every single one of them.
Were they in the Illuminati originally? Did they start it?
The Illuminati don't call themselves the Illuminati. They call themselves the Babylonian Brotherhood or something like that. You know, I don't like that Illuminati. That's what plebs call them. You know, when are you in the Illuminati? That's how they know you're a pleb. Call them the Babylonian Brotherhood because they've been around since Babylon. You're going to find some out. Another thing about the Rothschilds, everyone knows about the Rothschilds. Everyone knows about the Rockefellers. What about the Romanovs? That was the ruling family in Russia before the Bolshevik Revolution. They were all killed. Now think about this. Royal, R-O. Rothschild, R-O. Rockefeller, R-O. Romanov, R-O. Rolex, R-O. What are they trying to do? R is the 18th letter. O is the 15th. 18 plus 15, 33, baby. Every single time. So, again, to some of the people who are of low IQ, keep reading your Bible, keep reading your Quran. This isn't for you. It's okay. This isn't for everybody. But for people who have high IQs, for people who want to actually have an edge in life, come on over here. Because you know how this is all going to end? I'm not sure if I definitely won't be around by the 2070s. Maybe you have a chance. You'll be an old man by then. Maybe you'll remember my words. But by 2007, there's going to be an AI system that's running the world as a government. And it's going to be based off not Christianity, not Islam, but based off numerology and astrology. So the AI that's going to be running this world in 2070, 2060s, it's going to be a one world government under AI. And that's going to be based off numerology and astrology. That is a promise I have to everyone who's going to be watching this in 50 years. That's what's going to happen. That is the end game. And for all you guys who say, all the Muslims who say they're going to convert my kids and grandkids to Islam, nah, pimp, I'm going to convert your kids and grandkids to numerology and astrology because that is God's code and that is what he wants us to do.
Have you seen the DMT laser experiment?
No.
No?
No, I've never done DMT.
It's interesting. They basically took a laser and put it against a wall and then had people on DMT. And the laser could see through a wall, so they make the laser bigger, and you would see a code. and everyone would see the same code when they did DMT, and they'd write it down and like kind of prove it. And it like looked like, I think it was Japanese letters, kinda. It looked like some alien language, just like over. And you move the laser to a different part of the wall, you see a different code. You put the laser like on your hand, you see a different code. What do you make of something like that?
I believe that if people are using more than 15 to 10% of their brain, a lot of things are possible. And the reason I haven't done DMT yet is because I'm so wound up already. You know, that's, you know, I'm already out there. I'm afraid to get a bad batch because, listen, I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not out here, you know, doing things off my looks. My main thing is right here in my brain. And I don't want to damage it in any way. So that's why I haven't done DMT, because I'm scared of getting a bad batch. But if I knew the stuff was pure and was real, I'd take it. So, and I do believe things like that are possible if you unlock your brain.
Is it safe to fly on the 29th?
Okay, that's a good question. The worst day to fly is on the 11th and 29th because there are a lot of accidents that happen on the 29th. Now, here's, I'm going to try to explain this to the public. Say there is a 0.0001% chance that you could get in a crash on any other day. It'll be 0.001 that will happen on the 11th or 29th. Not saying all plane crashes. There's plenty of planes that were flying in the air today that didn't get in any accidents. But that's just the most likely day something that could happen, because the 11 energy fucks with electricity. 11, EL, electricity, EL. So it fucks with electricity in 11 days, and that's sometimes why you have crashes with planes. I mean, listen, if you guys really want to do the research, you'll see a lot more cars break down on the 11/29 as well. It's just, you notice it when it's a plane because people die.
Have there ever been any scientific studies on numerology?
In the QEP, we've basically broke down the numbers to such a point where it's irrefutable evidence that numerology and astrology work. Like, you know, I challenge everyone to put their Qurans, Bibles, Torahs down for at least a month and just go through numerology and astrology content and see how it affects your life. And you're going to see the stuff works. That's my challenge to people. Again, call me an idiot, but the richest people in the world are using numerology and astrology. I literally told President Donald Trump that he'd be president of the United States in 2016 before he won. You know, I was on Michael Savage, a big time guy back in the day, said President Trump would win. I said President Trump would win this time, and I said in 2020 they'd steal the election from him. I saw all of this stuff. Donald Trump is 3-0 in elections. Hopefully it's 2028, Donald Trump too. I'm ready to anoint him for another president. I really want the United States people to understand Donald Trump is the exact guy we need in the office, because if we have a weak, pussy little bitch, it's not going to look good for the Chinese are going to rip us apart.
Do you think JD will beat Gavin Newsom?
I think Marco Rubio, as of today, has a better chance than JD Vance. But listen, I need to be careful what I say, because the people who fund me are in the same circles that who fund JD Vance in different ways. But JD Vance has not earned my vote yet. Neither is Marco Rubio. As a matter of fact, if Donald Trump doesn't run, I might run. Like, the only person I've ever supported politically is Donald J. Trump, because he tells it as it is. No matter if you like him, if you don't, he's going to be honest with you. He said, get the fucking Somalis out of here and send him back to his fucking shithole. It is what it is. So I only have loyalty to Donald Trump. No one else has earned any of my political loyalty. And if Donald Trump's not running, I will seriously consider running myself.
Why do you think Gen Z women are obsessed with astrology, particularly?
Oh, I mean, the astrology they do is the Libra, Leo. You know, so I didn't bring up too much that you're a Cancer. You know, I'm not saying that stuff isn't real. I'm just saying it's not as effective as the numerology and the Chinese astrology. As for why the Gen Z women are into it, because it probably has more truth than anything else they've been told. That's why I would encourage all the Gen Z women who are into the Capricorn and the Cancer. And again, that stuff's real. I'll give you one example of what's very real in Western astrology. Every sign has a position and power point in their body. For instance, Pisces, right here in the feet. You give a Pisces woman a massage, she's open to like 7-Eleven. I mean, they love foot massages, and they also have issues with their feet. Pisces women tend to be very sensitive, and they need to be around water for their mental health. After that, you have Taurus. Taurus basically covers the neck area. The neck right here. So if you're a Taurus guy or a Taurus female, you need to get neck massages. That's how it works. Aries, the god of war, but it also covers the face. You're going to notice that a lot of Aries women have beautiful faces. They might have a plain Jane body, but an absolutely beautiful face. And the Aries are really good at starting things, not too good at finishing them. After that, you have Gemini. Now, listen, Gemini is the best sign to prove numerology supersedes astrology, because you probably know Gemini is a sign of communication, right? I'm sure you heard that before. Gemini is also the third sign. As we talked about before, 3 is the number of communication. Communication starts with C. C is the third letter. So if you know what a number 3 is, you know what a Gemini is. Gemini's area is right here. So, for instance, guys, if you're out there and there's a Gemini girl you like, you always go up to her and you touch her. Find an excuse to touch her arms. That's really going to get in her. That's her G-spot. You'll notice that a lot of Geminis have a lot of tats on their arms and stuff like that. They're all tatted up. And Gemini is also the arm rules the Gemini area. So you'll notice that Nolan Ryan, a Gemini, threw the fastball harder than anyone else. You'll notice that Michael Vick and John Elway could fucking bomb that shit because they had that strength in their arm. You'll notice even Gemini women are fucking ripped and muscular in their arms. That's one of the ways you could tell it's a Gemini woman. Cancer. So with a Gemini woman, you can go up like this and touch their arms and, do something. A Cancer is right here. So here's the one good thing about Cancer women. They don't need breast implants. They're pretty voluptuous over here. Same thing with a guy. That's their G-spot. When it comes to a Libra is the butt area. Leo covers the lower back area. And here's the thing about Leo women. If they have money, 0 chance they'll be faithful. Madonna, J-Lo. Like, if a Leo woman has money, 0 chance she'll be faithful. If she's poor, she might. But if she has money, forget about it. It's not happening. Virgo. Virgos are the ones usually with the 6-pack. So obviously I'm not a Virgo. But when it comes down to it, Virgos usually have the 6-packs right here. And their G-spot is right here. So they love getting their bellies massaged and stuff like that. Capricorn. Capricorns are kind of prude. And that's why the best thing for a Capricorn, I'll show you right here. If you want to turn a Capricorn woman on, then it's pretty much this. Don't get mad at me for telling the truth. That's what Capricorn women are. Aquarius women, they're right here in the calf area. So if you see this plain Jane woman with these huge muscular calves, usually an Aquarius. Now, how does this translate to everyday life? Michael Jordan, Vince Carter, some of the best jumpers in the league, right? All Aquariuses. Sagittarius. Sagittarius covers the thigh area. Those are usually the people with the big muscular thighs. The women, they usually cross their legs. You see a nice little sweep right here. Sagittarius women are usually very tall and they're very blunt. Listen, if you don't want the truth, don't ask a Sag, because they will tell you exactly what they think. And lastly, Scorpio. So if you want a Scorpio woman, you got to basically dominate her with your eyes. You literally got to look at her and dominate her with your eyes. And there's only one sign that can dominate a Scorpio, and that's a Capricorn. The Scorpio women, I'm not going to call them, but sex is a very, very big part of their life.
What's kind of the theory there with like the body part correlation with the sign? It's just
I think it has something to do with the planet Earth itself. That's because, to me, Chinese astrology is about the Earth and the physical body is about the Earth, but the planets are more the Western astrology. For instance, Capricorn is Saturn. That's why Saturn is such a restrictive planet. When you look at Jupiter, that is Sagittarius. To me, the body parts have more to do with how the earth is moving on a certain gravitational pull. And that's why the body parts are assigned and the energy points are assigned through the astrology at birth. That's at least my explanation for it. At the end of the day, I'm not going to give you 100% of why the stuff works. Only God's going to be able to do that. But I know it works, and I can give you examples of it working. But where it came from, we'll have to go right back to the very beginning of this podcast where I told you I think some time traveler brought it from, in the future and brought it back in the past.
What's your favorite planet?
Saturn. Besides Earth, obviously.
Why Saturn?
Because Saturn is very, very restrictive. And you have to put in work to get around Saturn. Saturn will hold you back, especially Capricorns. You know, some people have it when they're young. You, 24, 25, 23 years old, and you're a big star. Some people have it when they're young. Some people have it when they're in their 30s and 40s. And some people have it when they're old. And most of the people in positions of power at an older age tend to be Capricorns. So Capricorns are the ones that put in mad work and they get rewarded at the very end. So, it's going to be hard pressed for you, the coolest kid in school, to be a Capricorn when he's young. Usually Cancer or something like that would be Leo, definitely the cool kid always. But
do you think reading palms is bullshit?
No, it's your palm.
Right hand?
Your dominant hand. So right here is your lifeline. You see how it has no cracks in it? You're going to live a long life. I know all of this stuff. Palm reading, tarot. The thing is, that stuff just isn't as accurate as numerology and astrology. That's why I keep pushing people to that. But there's not one form of divination I don't know. I've studied all of them. But I actually don't want to be, bunched in with all the astrology girls. That's why I don't do tarot. I don't want to be bunched in with those people. Like some people want me to be like, Gary, I'm a psychic. I could heal people. Can you put me on? No, I can't put you on. I got enough credibility trouble myself. You want me to put on a psychic? Get the fuck out of here.
On being psychic, can you tell? How do you know when someone's going to die?
There's something called a death code. And this is something I released after I had some files leak. And the guy who leaked them, he's in hell right now, but it is what it is. But since it's leaked, I might as well take credit for my own work. And what I found out is when people die, you can't look at someone's birthday and get a conclusive answer of where they're going to die, because I went through cemeteries when I was a kid. When I was around your age, I would just go through a cemetery myself, smoking a blunt, looking at when someone was born and when they died, and try to figure out why someone born on that day died then. And I came up with some conclusions. Some people die in their enemy year, but that's not the main thing. But then I made a connection, and I made a connection because I've given 45,000 readings in my life. And a lot of people started telling me that their parents died in their enemy year. And that's when it clicked. It's like, wait a second. People don't die based off their energy. They die based off their kids' energy. It makes sense, because if bloodline matters, then it would make sense that the old vassal would die in the new vassal's enemy year. So again, examples of this. Kanye West, born 1977, year of the snake. His mom died during plastic surgery, 2007, year of the pig. Michael Jordan, born 1963, year of the cat. His dad died 1993 in a shooting off the highway. I've seen this. And again, you guys are showing two examples. Those are two famous people that I can bring up there and show you how this stuff works. It works about 60 to 65% of the time. It usually works off the first child, but sometimes the second. Example, Jeb Bush, the brother of the former president and the former governor himself. He's a dragon. Both his mom and his dad, George and Barbara Bush, died in 2018, the year of the dog, his enemy year. So we see this pattern over and over. And again, this is something the Rothschilds didn't even figure it out. I figured it out, and the only reason I figured it out was because I did so many readings and I saw so many people telling me, yo, my dad died this year. My dad, go to my first live radio appearance on the Triv show on YouTube. And I gave a guy a reading in his enemy year. I said, you had an enemy year this year. And he's like, oh yeah, my mom died. It started clicking and clicking after so many people started doing it. And that's how I figured out that most people die in their enemy year. So my first kid is a snake and my second kid's a dog. I'm most likely going to go with a pig or a dragon year based off that information. Now, is it 100% accurate? No. It's about 60, 65. When you people out there find something more accurate than 60, 65%, then you guys can talk down to me and say this is bullshit. Until then, shut the fuck up.
So there's no calculation for like age specifically. It's just more so likely to
I've
be
noticed
an
that
enemy
people,
year.
I'll give an example for me and you. I've noticed people born on the 7th, 16th, 25th, they die of cancer more than anyone else. And the way I've backed this is because I have 6,000 students. GG33 is really big. And some of my group members are doctors. Now, obviously, there's HIPAA laws and stuff like that. So you can't give me the name and the birthday, but you can give me a whole bunch of birthdays and have me analyze it. And I analyzed about 2,000 people through AI and a whole bunch of other tools. And the people who were born on the 7th, 16th, 25th were more susceptible to die from cancer than anything else. STDs, more people who are 5s tend to have STDs than anyone else. Little things like alcohol. People who are one life path should not drink. Alcohol begins with A. A is the first letter. And, ones are very masculine. Ones tend to be very aggressive. And when you start drinking, you have an aggressive personality, bad things happen. So I tell people who are ones, watch those DUIs. I know too many freaking rich men, too many people had all their shit together who are ones who got a DUI or fucking got in some bar fight and fucked up their lives. So different numbers, so watch out for different things. A 1, watch out for alcohol. A 9, watch out for pills or meth or whatever other drugs they do. So different numbers got to watch out for different things. 5s have to make sure they're not whores. Very good looking people have trouble not being whores. It is what it is.
Do you think elites gatekeep numerology? And how do they use it to make money?
100% they gatekeep numerology. I already told you how Vanguard's found on the 28th, with 28 energy. I already told you the people they put in positions of power are usually 28s. I mean, listen, Elon might be an actor for all we know. How does this guy have time for SpaceX, Twitter, Tesla, the time to play video games all day? I've literally had people who are worth $10 billion tell me this guy's an actor. So, again, I don't know what it is about Elon. I do know this. I've already been suspended 25 times from Twitter, so it doesn't matter what I say about him. I can't even use my real name on Twitter. Remember I messaged you like, is this Gary? Because it doesn't say Gary Numbers, guys, because if it did, I'd be suspended. Elon Musk took about 500,000 followers, and everyone knows Twitter is the hardest one to build. Like, I'll give you an example of how I use numerology and astrology. When Elon Musk bought Twitter in 2022, I told everyone in my group, that's it. We got to start going off Twitter. I did not use YouTube before 2023. I did not use IG before 2023. I wasn't on TikTok before 2023. I managed to pull off with my fan accounts and all those other, I got about 2, 3, 4 million followers between all those accounts. I couldn't do it like everyone else. So I had guerrilla warfare because I've been suspended so many times on Twitter. I was like, okay, I'm going to have one account with 300,000, one account with 400,000 instead of a big account with 2 million that they can take me out right away. That's the way I started looking at things. And when Elon Musk came in, Elon Musk is born in the year of the pig. I mean, look at his wives. He has kids with anyone else. He acts like a fucking swine. So when I knew he was taking over fucking Twitter, I knew it was game over for me. So I started spreading out all over. If I didn't do that, he would have locked me down on Twitter and I would have been done. So that is one of the ways I use numerology and astrology to see my enemy is coming in a position, enemy sign is coming into a position of power. I need to start navigating out of here. That's how it saved me. Now, how the elite do it? I mean, listen, just talked about 9/11 all day. What about the Great Depression? It started October 29th, 1929. They did it on purpose. Around the 29th to 9/11, they wanted people to get all emotionally wound up. As a matter of fact, if you look at most of the biggest disasters in world history, you're going to find that 11 energies right there. Why would the elite end World War I on 11/11 at exactly 11 a.m. They ended World War I. They were still firing bullets at each other at 10:55, but 11 they stopped. Why? Why? Because you can't have peace under 11 energy. By ending the war on 11/11, they guaranteed World War II. Notice they didn't end World War II on 11/11. They ended, Nazis surrendered on 5/2. We haven't had World War III since. Even though a lot of people said, when America attacks Iran, it's coming. I don't see any war. Do you guys? Maybe it's over here. Yeah.
What's the most painful decision numerology forced you to make?
When I was younger, I listened to a lot of rap by Tupac. That was my favorite artist when I was young. Again, I'm an old man and shit. So I listened to Tupac a lot. And then I realized that Tupac was born 1971, year of the pig. I can't be listening to that type of shit. You know, I can't be driving Chevys. That's a pig car. I can't be wearing APs. I can't eat bacon. Oh, I love bacon, bro. Like when I said that, I saw you were in pain because you like bacon. I had to give that shit up. Painful stuff. I remember before I got married, one of my buddies owned like a Charlie Subs. And I was in there, and one of the baddest bitches I ever seen in my life walked through the door. I'm talking to her, got the number, got everything. Yo, my parents out of town. I'm about to, what year are you born? Oh, a pig year. Nice. Soon as she left, I went like this to her number, threw in the trash can. That would have been an unwanted baby. See, I knew that because Charlie Sheen, born in the year of the snake, married Denise Richards, born in the year of the pig. They look like a perfect couple. Not so much. And now Charlie Sheen's 18, 19-year-old daughter is doing OnlyFans. Yeah, that's what happens when you have kids with enemy energy. So, yeah, I've had to pass up women, had to pass up things I like to do because of numerology and astrology because it told me that was the wrong thing to do. So, yeah, passed up pussy, something Tate would never do.
How about something that was particularly painful for you to learn about numerology?
I'll be honest. It was painful for me to learn when I was your age. I wouldn't have any real money till I was in my late 30s. That was painful. I'm not gonna lie, bro. That was painful as fuck, knowing that I knew more than everyone else, had all this knowledge. I still couldn't push myself to get past that finish line until my numerology was at what age I could take over. Like, I started GG33 in 2011 because that was the first 11 universal year. I knew I couldn't make my big run until 2023 because that was another cat year to match the energy. Remember, GG33 is more famous than me. Gary the Numbers Guy is famous, but GG33 is more famous than me. I elevated the group above myself, something a guy like Nick Fuentes would never do. I elevated the whole group. Has he elevated the groupers above himself? No. So I elevated the group above myself, and it was very painful for me to know that no matter what I do, I wasn't going to get that bag until I was in my late 30s. That was very painful, but I had to do it. I had to live like a pleb for a while, and now I've got multiple. I got 8 figures now, so I'm good. I'm not most of my guys who I'm friends with are billionaires. Like, I literally advise some of the biggest billionaires in the game. And
what do they ask you about?
When they should sign contracts for their companies, what's a good day to start a LLC or a C Corp. I have one guy who's very politically connected. He puts a whole bunch of politicians' birthdays in front of me and says who will serve me best. So,
did they use numerology to name their companies?
Yes, through me. I'll give you an example. Berkshire Hathaway is 100% numerology. So if you look at the initials of Berkshire Hathaway, it's BH. B is the second letter. H is the 8th, 28.
Coca-Cola, Capital Club, Cardone Capital.
Well, first of all, Luke Belmore, he's one of those guys. I'm not a fan of his, but Luke I had his brother on my podcast, and I got it out of him. You saw that clip. I got it out of him. I'm like, he named Capital Club because CC is 33. So he tried to use it in a little slick-ass way. But I called him out. See, the problem with the guys like Luke is he will gatekeep numerology. He will use it, but he won't tell you he's using it. So to me, that's kind of fraudulent. I tell people what I do. I'm a numerologist astrologer. That's what you're going to get. But there's too many people out there, Andrew Tate, a whole bunch of other guys who are using numerology and astrology. Even Nick Fuentes is using numerology and astrology. He will sit here and tell you, oh, I have no faith in the numerology. It works, but it's against God's plan. Why did he start his paywall on 7/28/2025? Why did he start his paywall on the 28th? Why did you start your paywall on the 28th, knowing 28 is the number of wealth? I mean, I used to manage Zerka. That's one of his best boys. Sneeko knows all about this stuff. That's one of his best boys. This guy is using numerology and astrology just like Luke, but they won't tell you anything about it because they want to gatekeep the stuff themselves. Me, I'm honest. I tell you what I do, and they call me the devil. It is what it is.
How can you use numerology to make money?
You can do what Walmart does. You can have 88 on the very back end of all your prices. If you go to Walmart 10 years ago, all the prices ended in 99. You go to Walmart now, they all up in 88. People know what they're doing. How many times have you seen that 28 price tag now? That price tag of 28's all over the place now. No one knew anything about it last decade. But since I spread the information so much, directly the most, indirectly to a lot of people too, now the number is all out there. If you want to make money with numerology, a couple ways. So, say you're selling a product, have it for $35, 3 and 5 is 8, or sell it for $530, 5 and 3 is 8. So anything that adds up to 8 is a good way to sell things, or open your LLC on the 28th. That's what I did. That's what a lot of my people do. So again, don't have to believe me. Let's look at Apple. Apple is the cash richest company in the world. Apple was started by Steve Jobs, born 2/24/1955. 2/24/1955 adds up to 28. You see, I practiced that a few times. Then he incorporated Apple on 4/1/1976. Again, 4/1/1976, 28. And he basically he founded and incorporated it on another 28 day, 1/3/1977. So we have Steve Jobs, a 28, who didn't make Apple. That was Steve Wozniak, the Smart 7. He's the one who came up with it. The GOAT, and Steve Jobs is marketing it, so he's a 28. He founded Apple on the 28th day, and Tim Cook, the guy who replaced him, what do you know, another 28. So they're doing it on purpose. And by the way, 1 is enemy numbers with the 9, and now you understand why they skipped the 9. They know what they're doing. It's all over. It's just these guys who are Bible thumpers or reading the Quran, or these guys who think like they know everything because they're the chosen people. It's all nonsense. You have nothing but faith. I don't want your faith. I only ask you to believe in facts.
So you look at the days, like if we were to post this podcast, what would be the most viral time to post it? Would it be 22nd?
Are you interested in making money or making sure it gets as viral as possible? Because those are two different things. If you're interested in making money, I do it on dropping the 8th, the 28th, or something around those type of energies. If you're interested in making a huge impact, 11th, 29th, that's exactly why we're here on the 11th, because I'm more interested in making an impact than I am actually making money, because I already, I'm around the richest people in the world, man. I've been on the yachts. I've been on the penthouses. It's nice, but, my money is in God. When I was a local celebrity in Cleveland, Ohio, ESPN came to me in 2015, and they told me flat out, if I apologize for not supporting gay marriage, they'll put numerology on the map. I get to go on ESPN. I told them to go fuck off. And they put up a hit piece on me in 2016. Put in the number 22, Cleveland, ESPN. You'll see the hit piece that ESPN did on me about some crazy numerology guy in Cleveland, Ohio, who sees all these numbers coming. They're basically trying to talk shit to me, and it's fine. But they would never mention my name, just like when Fuentes always takes shots at numerology and astrology, he's talking about me. This. We know what's going on. We know exactly what's going on. And to the influencers in the world, I want you to understand this. your people, I'm talking about the Sneekos and all Zerkas of the world, no one's going to remember you in 10 years. And no one's going to even know what the hell you did in 15. What I'm doing now, I'm planting the seeds to revolutionize the world. It doesn't matter if it's Nepal, India, Japan, Mexico, America. They know me all over. These other guys, they have very little influence. That's why I can have 1/10 of the followers as some of these other guys, and I make 100 times more money than they do. Because plebs, poor people follow you, and the richest people in the world follow me. It is what it is.
Does the time of day matter?
Yes.
What is that? Tell us.
And we see a 28. Well, it's interesting that you tell me to look at the clock. It's 5:28. I hope you guys can videotape this and see it. What's 5 plus 28?
33.
There you go.
Yeah.
It sure as hell did tell us number 7, didn't it? So the time you tell me to point, I point it. It's 5:28, and look, we've been talking about the number 28 and the number 33. It's right there. This is what I call a matrix confirm.
Do you think it would make a difference if I asked 33 questions every time on the podcast, did stuff like that?
I think it's more important for you to do the podcast on the right day. Like if you know, like for instance, Fuentes is an 8. You should do an interview with him on the 8th day because that's when it will go most viral with him because he's an 8. I'm a 33. I do best with master numbers. So again, brother, I already told you on the phone, man. You sign a non-disclosure with me, I'll teach you some way more advanced numerology, and that way you can start doing things from behind the scenes. Fuck what these people think. I don't care. Like, no matter what podcast I do, no matter what event I do, I always get cooked in the comments. Idiot, fat Jew, whatever they want to call me, I'm all in there. I don't care. You people are poor. I'm only interested in taking to that 10, 15% of the people who have a strong mind, and they're going to be the ones that look into this.
Gary, you're someone who sees patterns everywhere in the world. What's one thing in your life that still surprises you? Maybe something that you can't use numerology for.
Can't use numerology in the dream world. That's for sure. Numerology only affects this virtual reality. In the dream world, numerology does not work. So that's something I had to realize about 15 years ago, that numerology only works on this third dimensional plane. In the dream world, it does not work.
What do you mean by the dream world?
Well, when there's the fourth dimension, third dimension, and in between, that's the dream world where we all go to when we sleep. Numerology does not work in that realm. Only works in this one.
Do you lucid dream?
Yes.
Do you get information from your dreams about this world?
I get information very differently than most people. I'm very tapped into the ether. And when you're tapped into the ether, things become a lot more clear. And that's just because I'm a 33. And the thing is, only a snake can be a pure 33 because 33 AD was the snake year. You're a straight up interviewer, man. Like most people want to debate this stuff. This guy just asks questions and get out the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't find it worth it usually to debate with people.
I talk to morons, huh?
I think usually you get less useful information when you debate someone. Like how much have you shared on this podcast maybe versus another podcast where someone's just telling you that you're stupid for being a numerologist?
I definitely shared more.
Yeah.
I get your point, but just to show you how this stuff works, Andrew Wilson's been torn apart this year. Everyone's seen it. He's born a year of the pig. This is snake year. Stuff you expect. Megan Thee Stallion, she's been torn apart this year. Year of the pig. That's what happens in snake years. Wes Watson, my dude in Miami, he got hit this year. He's born in the year of the pig. So when people are born in pig energy, usually bad things happen in their enemy year. Good thing is you only got like about 80 days left in the snake year, so it is what it is. But it's not just things. A lot of times people make the mistake of thinking it's just people. It's also things and places. For instance, India was founded in the pig year. Rupee's not doing too well. India's fucking not doing, the economy's not doing too well because it had pig energy. As a matter of fact, Pakistan and India went to somewhat of a war this year. Small one. Trump stopped it. Shout out to my president. But they're both pig nations going to war. It is what it is.
Who's going to have a bad year next year?
LeBron James. He's born. I mean, well, listen, LeBron James might have some problems with the FBI next year with this gambling scandal that's going to probably reach up to him. But LeBron James is going to have an off year. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to have a off year. You know, it is what it is. You know, one of the biggest mistakes Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson made was he endorsed Joe Biden. He admits that was a mistake. And that's what happens when you endorse your enemy sign. Joe Biden's a horse. He got endorsed by The Rock, Rat, and a lot of negative things happened because of that. That's why he didn't mess around in this election. He had a bad taste in his mouth. So usually when people do things in their enemy year, it comes back to haunt their ass. As for an institution that's going to have a bad year, OPEC. OPEC was founded in the rat year, 1960, I believe, and I do expect oil prices to plunge next year. So people can make money off that. That information right there. I already told you crypto. I already told you OPEC. So those are some of the things I see happening next year. Accidents are going to be off the hook next year. Road rage is going to be off the hook next year because it's a one universal year and people get pissed. People's fuses are going to be a lot shorter next year. And another thing, again, even my ass is going to get more in shape next year because that's how you go with the energy. Next year is a 1 year. It's a horse year. What are horses? Horses are extremely active people. NFL. You know the cornerback position is probably one of the toughest for speed in the NFL. You had a 40-year-old cornerback in his prime called Darrell Green, who was a damn horse. Only a horse could do that at 40 years old. There's another guy called Champ Bailey, probably the best cover corner in NFL history. I'm not sure if you know him, but he was a horse too, because horses have that acceleration speed that no one else has. Horses are also extremely stubborn. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 7 years when the authorities came to him. And they said, listen, all you have to do is sign this contract that says you renounce violence and you're free to go. He said no. He said no to going home fucking his wife. He said no going home raising his kids. He had said no to lying in his own bed. He was in jail for another 20 years because that son of a bitch was that stubborn. Only a horse will be that fucking stubborn. No one else. But horses have great work ethics and they're also very loyal people.
I want to actually kind of want to ask, do you know I Show Speed?
I do.
When's his birthday?
He is an 11 life path. He is born 1/21/2005. So I Show Speed's that 11. What we talked about in the very beginning, charisma. We also talked about 3 is the number of the communicator. So I Show Speed has the 3 energy and 11 energy. Perfect match for an influencer. Now let's go back to when I talked about my kid. My kid was born on a certain day to become an influencer. Now, before I Show Speed was big and famous, my kid was born in 2013. He was born on the 21st, just like I Show Speed, and he's an 11, just like I Show Speed. And I will start podcasting with my kid next year, January 2026, because quite frankly, what's the point of having them go to school anymore? What's the point? AI is coming for everyone's jobs. We're literally losing 40,000 jobs in America right now every week because of AI. And while people are worried about the Zionists, while people are worried about this, or Kim Kardashian, who she's fucking, they're coming for your jobs. And basically, people have like 3 years left max to get rich. Because if you don't have your bag by 2029, definitely by 2030, you will be stuck in perpetual poverty for the rest of your life and with your family. These are the last years left. And we can go back and see how this works. Everything goes in cycles. Everything's numerology and astrology. Spanish flu, 1918. 100 years later, COVID, 2019. We had the roaring 20s. From 1920 to 1929, one of the most productive times in early American history. Everyone had money back then. Then 29 happened, and what happened in the 1930s? Depression. That's what's coming. Because why would anyone pay anyone a real living wage when you can have robots do it for pennies on the dollar. So what's going to happen afterwards? People are going to steal. People are going to loot. People are going to feed their kids one way or another. So the government's going to be forced to give everyone a basic income. That's going to destroy capitalism. So what's going to happen is, if you guys watch the movie, what was it? Running Man that just came out. Very good movie about what's going to happen in the future. You're going to have gated communities for the rich people, and then outside there's going to be poor zones where you're going to have AI robots, all sorts of stuff. And for all these people who are like going to quote history, like, Gary, when the wealth inequality gets so bad, the poor people usually riot and they kill the rich people. That's usually what happens. Happened in the French Revolution. But see, things are different now because the government could never get its own people to shoot on its own citizens. They could never get the army to shoot on their own citizens. And the Russian Tsar tried that. It didn't work. It never works. But now it's going to be a little different because it's not going to be human soldiers. It's going to be AI Terminators. And when those poor people rise up, they're going to send the Terminators and take them right down. So it's not going to be like every single time in history where the poor people just rose up, got rid of the rich people, and then new rich people came to power and the new system came to power. No. They got something for your asses now. So they're going to give you some basic income for a few years. They're going to cut that off. And when you guys riot, they got Terminators coming. They got all this stuff figured out. And I'm telling you exactly what's going to happen. And you guys are going to look at this tape within 5-6 years. And you know what you're going to say? Everyone saw this coming. That's usually how it works.
Do you think it's a key focus of those in power to not allow any uprisings? Like, let's say the years 2010 to 2025 now. Like, one of their key agendas is make sure no one has any uprising until we get AGI.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. They knew AI would replace people, and they knew the people would not be happy about it. So they made sure to get people vaccinated, and a lot of those people who are vaccinated won't be around for that transition. These people plan ahead. Remember what I told you about the Schofield Bible in Israel? It took 40 years. Well, the there to make sure people got something. And I'm not going to be like all these other guys say, it's going to kill you right away. No, if you're supposed to live till 80, the vaccine is going to take you out at 65. If you're supposed to live till 55, it's going to take you out at 40. It's going to shorten your life. They prepared. What did the Georgia Guidestones say? They want 500 million people in a perpetual balance with nature. We got about 6-7 billion now. A lot of people in the elite's eyes. They don't need us anymore, pimp. They needed us to build cap. When the Civil War started, it wasn't because white people grew a consciousness. Oh my God, we got to free all the black people. That's not what happened. You can't have a middle class unless you have capitalism. And the middle class is the strongest economic engine for a capitalist society. So what happened was they got rid of slavery because 95% of white people in the South were all poor, because why would you pay them a living wage when you got slaves? So they got rid of slavery. They had to start paying people living wages. The economy went up. Capitalism taking more people out of poverty than any time in world history. The Chinese got 600 million people who rose up through capitalism, even though they call themselves socialism with Chinese characteristics. Get the fuck out of here. They do a lot of capitalism over there too. The thing is, they don't need capitalism anymore. They already built all the infrastructure in the world, and now they have AIs. So when Donald Trump says he's going to bring manufacturing back to the United States, it's not going to be humans. It's going to be robots. One of my billionaire friends, he just came back from Iowa. I can't mention his name, but he came back from Iowa, and he's like, Gary, do you know what a dark factory is? I'm like, no, I thought it was, some kind of orgy shit. And he's like, no, a dark factory is a factory that needs no lights because all the computers and machines are the only things that are working inside. So there's no more humans there. At some point, all our jobs are going to be at risk. Not so much yours, because you have a personal brand. It's going to be very, very difficult to replace you because you have a personal brand. And that's what I tell most people to do. go out there and try to build a personal brand within the next couple of years. Go out there, learn AI before it destroys all of us. Because right now, if you learn AI, you still have the possibility to become a millionaire in the next couple of years. And it's sad. It's really sad because obviously you made it, but most people your age haven't. And unlike me, they didn't have 10, 15 years. They got a couple years left. It's not fair, but it's the reality of the situation. So you have to go out there and make your bag, because if not, your kids and grandkids are going to be in perpetual poverty.
What do you think of IQ?
I think Ashkenazi Jews have the highest IQ level. And I would say that the next group up there are either Chinese or white. The thing is, white people are more creative. If you look at all the technologies, from airplanes to cars to radio to internet, it was pretty much all white people. So you have to say their IQ level is right here. And the reason we have a quote unquote white genocide is because the people at the top of the food chain don't want any competition. They're not worried about the people in the Middle East. I'll tell you that much right now. They're only worried about a certain group of people because that's the only group that can challenge them. And that's why the white population went down from 30% of the world population 100 years ago to 8%. And all they had to do was pass women's suffrage. That's all they had to do. Because think about it. The white men gave the white women rights to vote. And what happened? They went from 30% to 8% of the world population. That's just facts. Don't get mad at me because I presented facts. And let me tell you something else about our forefathers. I love to give this example. 1860 was when the black man got the right to vote in America, around that time. The racist white folks in 1860 decided to give the black man the right to vote, someone they thought was 3/5 of a person, over their own women. The black man got the right to vote in America 60 years before the white woman. Were they really racist or were they sexist? And if they were sexist, is there a reason for them to be sexist? And obviously, you see what the end results are. And you can go about IQ, you can talk about culture, but at the end of the day, the stuff that's going on in this country right now with this 3 baby daddies, baby mama, you can't build a society on this. This is pure trash. Which is why I agree with the Christians and the Muslims. We need to go back to a nuclear family, because the nuclear family is the only thing stopping us from being dominated by the government. Because when you don't have a father, you don't have a mother, who steps in? Big daddy government. And you know what the absolute end game for these people are? To take the kids at birth. Once they take the kids at birth, there's no more rebellion, ever. They brainwash them at that age. That's why America is so important, because we have something called freedom of speech in this country. I can go around saying, and this and that. You can't do anything about it. They can call me a K. You know what that slur means? I have to take it. I have to take it because free speech matters more than people's personal emotions or whatever they believe. We need to have that open in America, which is why I think the JQing should be completely legal. Even though, unlike Nick Fuentes, he has every fucking right to say what the fuck he says. And that goes with Candace Owens or anyone else. They have every right to say it because this is America and we can say what the fuck we want in this country. People have died for that right. And if you cower down and you fucking kowtow because some liberals or some feminists tell you, oh, you can't say that, then you're a coward, and that's how we lose democracy within a few generations. You're the future, bro. People like you, people who are your age, you got to keep this going. I'm not going to be around in 30 years. You have to inspire the next generation. Because if America's not running the world, it's going to be a dark, dark fucking place. With all America's faults, anyone can come in this country, any immigrant can come in this country, work hard, and become a millionaire. 1 out of every 10 adults in America is a millionaire. In China, it's 1 out of every 200. It's not even close. Even the people at the bottom of the food chain, Black Americans, 1.8 million Black Americans are millionaires in this country. 1.8 million Black Americans are millionaires in this country. I know Black billionaires. And these people are talking about reparations. Fuck you. Anyone in this country can make it as long as you work hard. And that is the beauty of this country. My dad came from the Soviet Union. He dragged my mom over here to make sure I was born in this country. So I guess some people could call me anchor baby. It is what it is. But it is what it is. But at the same time, my dad put in hard work, 3 jobs, would drive a bicycle in snow to go to work to make enough money. I grew up poor, had cockroaches in my room, going through all my toys. I remember all of this stuff. But I thank my dad because even though I'm a millionaire right now, his job was way harder than mine. I thank my dad every fucking day for giving me the opportunity to live a better life than he had. And my job, the way I thank him, is make sure my kids live a better life than I did. Because one of the things that bother me about women, and this is sick, I've seen mothers get jealous of their daughters because they're better looking than them. Absolutely disgusting. And while I have an ego, and while I'm the king of numerology and the godfather of this stuff, I would love nothing more than both my kids to supersede me. Man, do everything in my power to make sure they do. That's the difference. A father will always want his kids to supersede him. Not too sure about the mother.
Gary, last question. What's the one truth about numbers that you want people to remember?
Men lie, women lie, but numbers never lie.
Beautiful. Well, everyone, this has been your guest, GG33. Appreciate you coming on, man. This
Thank
is
you,
the
brother.
Jack Neel Podcast.